All right, 9 o'clock. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First item of business is to approve the minutes of the Monday, April 13th meeting, April 13th, 2026 meeting as printed.
Make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody?
I will abstain.
Okay. That passes 4-0-1. Abendroth abstained. Have several miscellaneous motions. We have one for landfill fees. Is that something you want to?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Yep.
Come on up.
Okay.
We'll take care of that. All right.
Okay, I have two here for you. And the first one's the one I'm gonna.
Pretty pictures.
There's something. There's two different ones there for you.
Nice blue sky.
It was a beautiful sky that day.
It was. It's like a nice summer house.
Yeah. Okay, so that first one.
Summer house.
Yeah.
It is.
That first one you have there is owned by Barrels and Bows LLC, which is Walker and Carissa Trumbull. It's 715 Allegheny. He bought that, and then there's like a shed that was half torn down. He bought that, and he's going to be putting in some, what did he call it? Like cabins for people staying there for like going hunting and stuff. He's going to have those there. So he would like to get those landfill fees waived on that one. If you go by there now, he's really working on the other, like a shed. He's got it started to be sided and.
Yeah, he's gonna put two of them there.
Yeah, there's one on one side, and then where there's already another shed, he's gonna put in like some living quarters or like a living room space, and then the other shed where this trailer is, he's gonna put another one.
It's really going to improve that area, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's made a big difference already.
Yeah.
So this is like on the north side of the street.
On the south
That's on the
side.
south side. Mhm.
Okay.
On the corner of 7th and, well, that's actually on, like, in between 7th and 8th on Allegheny.
Okay.
He called me and said he's renamed his project to MAGA. It's called Make Allegheny Great Again.
Yeah.
That's what he's called it.
Oh, good for him.
And someone's got to. It's rough over there.
Okay.
So I would move to waive landfill fees for.
Go ahead and read.
Which one? Waive landfill fees for a structure owned by Barrels and Bows LLC, Walker and Carissa Trimble, located at 715 Allegheny, Burlington, Kansas.
I'll second. Okay, Abendroth moved, Peterson second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
Alright, and then that second one, you can see it's kind of in piles, but I gave you the first, what it originally looked like, and then it's in piles already. They were wanting to kind of take advantage of the landfill dump fees, but it was just far too muddy. So, I'm here to ask to get those landfill fees waived for them. That is owned by, Bruce Hegwald and Leroy.
Okay.
Not much left, is there?
No,
I will move to waive landfill fees for a structure owned by Robert Bruce and Deborah N. Hegwald, located at 514 9th Street, Leroy, Kansas.
I'll second that.
Okay, Peterson moved, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
They opposed? Passes 5-0.
thank you. And if you don't mind, I will stay for the other discussion.
Okay. All right, then we do have a few more miscellaneous motions. That letter that meeting before last, we had that letter to the Energy and Natural Resources Committee members in opposition to Senate Bill 1547, the America the Beautiful Act. Anyway, we got that.
Go ahead.
That's basically all I had. You want me to go ahead and do the motion? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the letter to the Energy and Natural Resources Committee members in opposition of SB 1547, America the Beautiful Act.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Okay, Parker moved, McCurry seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0.
You like the name, you just don't like the content of the bill, be my opinion.
Yeah.
Do
I'm fine with America the Beautiful, but.
Just the content?
Content of the bill.
Yeah,
They always have a catchy name.
do I?
Did you send me a copy of that?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Thank you.
And then do I need to forward this on to them? To the senators?
Yes.
Just get it separate?
you.
Take care.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Then, we have we have a memo to department heads and elected officials regarding the 2027 budget preparation. Everybody have a chance to look at that?
Yeah, and that outlines that they're gonna use one form, am I correct?
That's my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on the same page on the
Yeah.
budget preparation.
Sure makes it easier
Yeah.
when we're reviewing stuff.
If one that's not on there, send it back to them.
Okay. Well, and our system allows us to, well, we have the one approved one that you guys are familiar with, that's the front
Mhm.
sheet. And then the line item sheet, I print straight out of CIC, and I also email it, and I can import their numbers into, to work smarter, not harder, you know?
Yeah.
Import it back into CIC if everyone will do that, and it helps.
Sure.
So, anyway, but yeah.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the memorandum to department heads and elected officials regarding the 2027 budget preparation.
You made that motion?
No, I didn't.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, McCurry moved, Parker seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0. And I think I'll save the other one until Wade gets here, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
I'll give that letter so you can sign it.
Okay.
I think I grabbed it.
And, okay, we changed our agenda just a little bit. Amelia, we'll have Health Department Administrator Amelia Marchant come up and give us a department update.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioner.
All right.
Good morning.
How are you guys? Some handouts, some flyers. I've been more than welcome to share with us August 12th. So a lot of events coming up for the health department and for county employees and community members. And then I'll just go through in order that they are paper clips. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, first off, we have our annual provider meeting coming up this week, which is Wednesday, April 22nd at 12 p.m. Our medical officer comes on site for these, for this meeting. This is not in the flyer. So we go over all the progress that we've made over the past year, areas of improvement. We go through all of our audit information, our standing orders, and our grants. And then we also go through our epidemiology and our immunization rates. I would like to extend the invite for two of you guys to attend as Board of Health. Like I said, it's at noon on Wednesday, and lunch will be provided.
And, if you guys, if two of you guys do plan to attend, I can go over the agenda and the attachments with that ahead of time and answer any questions that you may have. And it'll just be hosted down in the health department. Next up is Pulse of Public Health. So this is the educational series for Kansas County Commissioners and county officials that was put together by KDHE. So this has a 3-part virtual training series. So the first one was on Friday, April 17th at noon, but they're only 30-minute sessions. They are recorded, so if you guys are interested in going back and looking at those recordings or even attending them virtually, they will be available. So the first one was just over the value of public health. Second one is scheduled for June 12th, and it is local boards of health and what is your role. And then session 3 is public health funding, and that is on Friday, July 24th. And then the second page is just some information on public health, and it gives some rates and reduction in fatal occupational injuries, immunization information, and community benefits of having public health officials in the area. Do you guys have any questions on any of that? And if you guys would like to sign up for those, I can do it for you if you'd like, just whatever email address that you guys would like. And they will also, even if you register but don't attend the actual virtuals, they will send you the recordings to the email that you provide. Next up is our annual event for Safe Sleep Community Baby Showers. So this is funded through a KDHE Injury Prevention Mini Grant that is to be used specifically for Safe Sleep Community Baby Showers. So this event is going to be Thursday, April 30th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and it's going to be located at 1401 Cross Street. That's the Burlington Christian Church. This event is open for any new or expecting parents, and then also for parents and caregivers for infants 18 months and younger. So that even includes grandparents if they are going to be taking care of their little grandkids. We do have a lot of incentives for the parents for going. That's all grant funded. So they get a store welcome bag that has like sleep sack, diapers, various items like that that they can use throughout their lifespan. And then they have vendor booths that they go through, and it has all of like the community resources. So whether it's parents as teachers or community events through the libraries or safe sleep education, car seat checks, there's a lot of very helpful information for those parents and caregivers in that event. And if you guys would like to attend and volunteer to help, we do have some areas that we are needing some volunteers. Next up, we have the Matter of Balance class. So this is new to our population. Matter of Balance is a free class that is designed to help older adults to feel more confident and reduce the risk of falls. So the first 2 weeks is just education on fall prevention, and then on week 2 they start light chair exercises. The two programs, the Tuesday and Thursday program starts on May 5th, and it's from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., and that's at the Burlington Senior Center. And then our second session is at the Leroy Senior Center on Wednesdays and Fridays, starting on May 6th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then next up, we have the Wellness Waddle. So that is hosted by the Health Department as part of the Coffee County Wellness Circuit. That is Tuesday, May 5th. Registration begins at 5 p.m. All proceeds are going to go to our Safe Sleep Community Baby Shower, and what isn't used for the Safe Sleep Community Baby Shower will be used for the Blessing Box that's just right across the street. And then with the Wellness Waddle, we are also doing the Coffee County Employee Walk at Lunch Day. So that is also May 5th, Cinco de Mayo themed. We'll have walking tacos. This is an event that we have every year for our employees. The first group walk starts at 11:30. Second group walk is at 12:30, and we'll start serving lunch at 12. And for employees, if they sign up for the Wellness Waddle, they can use their Walk at Lunch day to go towards their Wellness Waddle for their wellness circuit. And we are looking for volunteers for that as well to help with food, handing out lunch, the walking tacos, the food, and all that good stuff. And then kind of rounding back to the annual provider meeting, we will be reviewing our contracts. So two of the contracts will be our nurse practitioner, so advanced registered nurse practitioner. We utilize her for our family planning clinics that we host every other month after hours. Once those are reviewed during that meeting, we'll present it to you guys for final approval. And then our pharmacist contract. So the pharmacist, we utilize him to be able to distribute our contraception, emergency contraception, and then also our STI, STD treatments, and our reportable disease treatments. So, I mean, without them, we wouldn't be able to function as a health department. And then our medical officer as well. Do you guys have any questions on any of that? Well, if you guys are wanting to attend any of those events, let me know, or meetings, and I can send out all of the information ahead of time just so you guys can ask questions.
We talked about this some time back, or I did, these guys might know, but on your wellness, when we sign on all our checks and vouchers and everything, we get different amounts and for different things. Can you come in sometime and show a breakdown or tell us a breakdown how all that works?
Absolutely. So, I think there's probably some questions on the most recent ones.
There was just different amounts of money on them, and I was just curious on what it goes for.
So the $100 is the incentive for county employees. So whenever they complete their annual employee wellness lab, their HRA screening and biometric screening, they have the option to have a half day off, wellness half day off, or a $100 voucher. And then for the $25 ones, they get 4 of those a year, and those are for preventative screening. So if you were to go to your dentist appointment and get a teeth cleaning, that's $25 that goes to you once you turn in proof that you went there. Or if you have like a male or a female exam, there's a whole list that could qualify, but you can only submit for 4. So this is just to help improve the health of the employees, to make sure that they are doing their preventative screening versus waiting until something is absolutely wrong and not good, because it's more out of pocket that way.
Right.
Do you have a flyer that just has bullet points on each one of those or anything that you give to employees?
I think, yes, we do. I can get a copy of that to you.
Yeah, I'd like to see it, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so we actually distributed those during our wellness labs this year at the beginning of the year, and also information on our wellness coaching. So the wellness coaching, yeah.
I was just curious on it.
And the wellness coaching, they kind of help track with that if the employees sign up. They kind of give them more of the motivation to get those items complete. And then we also do reimbursement for wellness circuit as well. So that just depends on the
cost.
cost.
Those are the races and things?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, throughout the county. So that's only for, the reimbursements for that is only for county employees. But the wellness circuit events are for the entire population to attend if they would like.
I think it's all worthy what you're doing, and good job.
Yeah, I'll get that information out to you.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.
Prevention's valuable.
Huh?
Yeah, prevention is valuable.
Yes, it definitely is.
A lot more than trying to fix the problem
Yes.
later.
Absolutely. Well, if you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you too.
Okay. Wait, and we have a motion there for the property description up north. Do we want to tackle that now or wait until, I mean, do we have additional information to go with that? We started it last week and then we decided to wait a week to make sure we had everything all lined out. We can either go ahead and make the motion now and take care of it, or we can just wait till later and if we need to discuss it a little bit more. So this has all been surveyed and pinned already? Well, they were gonna pin it the next day, I believe, after we looked at it.
I don't know if you saw us talking about that.
Yeah.
Trim this down a little bit, because it may have way better crossing to get from this tract over here to that up there. Really swampy one down here, so.
I'd say go ahead and pass it, Mark. Resolution, get it over.
Yeah.
Get this
Well,
going.
we just making sure we didn't need to add anything to it or anything.
Yeah, looks pretty good. I mean, the actual description, everything will be filed, obviously. So we good with just passing what we have there, or?
Yes.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the modifying of the property description as a revision to the north property description commonly known as 1234 Old Highway 50, Lebo, Kansas. A tract of 71.65 acres in total in the southeast and southwest quarters of Section 10, Township 19 South, Range 15 East, Coffee County, Kansas.
So moved.
Second that. Go ahead, either one.
Wait.
Okay.
Okay, Parker made the motion and about everybody else seconded. Thompson seconded.
I won by being the loudest.
Is there any
I heard you first.
any discussion, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? It passes 5-0. All right.
On that particular topic, that property, something for you to chew on between now and roundtable. The appraisal of that property might be a little more complicated than what we originally anticipated, and the reason why is finding comparables for that property, number one. Number two, some of your appraisers may not have they're either residential or ag land, and to sort of combine the two, I've already had one say that they only can do residential and they're not interested. We're working on that. Last week, if you remember, I had the conversation with one about usually for court processes, 3 appraisers work together and then they come up with a price to provide to the court, and that's what they go with. There may be benefit to considering that approach, because I think they're going to end up communicating with each other, especially if they're going to try to come up with comparables, is my understanding. I'm not going to pretend to know how that process works, but one of them I have had a conversation with, and that is what they've indicated to me, that it's going to be, even if they don't go out and work together, they may rely on each other for comparables, and I don't know how you're going to find a comparable for that particular property with what you're looking for. So that's just something to think about. I don't know what the answer is. If you want it to be done 3 separate appraisals, then they don't work together. I mean, that's your call.
Well, I kind of like with what you said. I think it's, unless these people don't get along, I think that's what they're gonna do anyhow, is they're probably gonna contact and try to bump some ideas off each other anyhow. That's just my thought.
Are we still gonna pay 3 individuals to do it, or are we gonna pay for one evaluation, split 3 ways?
I don't know, I'd have to look and see how they do that in the court process. I think you pay 3 separate appraisers to,
Because they're all gonna look at it, right?
they do their own individual
And
work,
then they'll talk
Right.
amongst each other.
but that's my impression.
Yeah.
I don't know all the deep dive details on that process. I can inquire further, but that's sort of where we are right now. I think we're gonna have a decent cross-section of appraisers from across the geographic region that will give a fair and accurate appraisal, but that's the best I can do for you right now.
So what are you looking for now, Wade?
It may make a difference on timing if they collectively work together, or if they need to be 3 separate and they do their own thing. I know, my understanding is some have software that helps them, others don't, and to deal with this parcel of land with the house, having that software is helpful, and if you have someone who doesn't have that software, they may be out automatically. I don't know. So, if you just give me a little bit of guidance on where your line in the sand is, then that's the direction I'll pass on. That was just, they reached out to me, and one of them reached out to me, and that's what they said.
I kinda think that's what we might about end up anyhow, whether we know it or not, is.
And that's my feeling. I mean, I would think that they would reach out to each other.
If they do that, can you negotiate with them on, since 3 of them's working on it, bring the rates down?
Sure can try.
I mean, they're gonna do 1/3 of the work, each one of them.
But are each one of them going to come up with an appraisal some way? I mean, they're still going to do the work.
together, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Whether they would all do the same stuff and then try to combine their thoughts, I don't know, Todd.
How easily can you find out, like, more about the court process, like how they handle that and how they pay them? I mean, is there somebody to reach out to that might be able to know within a couple hours?
I can try.
If I say anything, we'll get you around to.
Because it's something that we need to go ahead and pursue as quickly as we can. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if they won't work together, I mean, we're obligated to.
because I guess,
do it,
Todd, my point is that I would assume that each one of them would, and I'm not sure how that works.
That's the way I am.
You know, if each one of them would look and do an appraisal and then get together and I don't know how,
But it's based off of a computer program.
yeah,
I
don't know.
I think just look into it, and if we are hooked to pay 3 of them, we'll do it, but if we can get a little wiggle room there and save a little money.
Yeah,
And see how,
that'd be the best way to approach it, I'd say. See if they're negotiable on that a little bit.
because it sounds like their expertise may be on the
Ag side.
residential side of it, where
Yeah.
somebody else may be on the, I mean, I don't know how.
Yeah, and then they just
It's
do
way,
parts of it, put it together.
it's way above my head.
Because, I mean, the ag, in my thoughts, the ag's gonna have added value because it's going with this
It
house.
is, it will.
It's not gonna be
It's not a separate
based
entity.
just on a bare piece of property.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be, it's gonna add, it adds value to that house because you're having the perimeter and stuff around the
Yeah,
house.
I'll see if I can answer some of your questions a little better. I mean, I'm the messenger, so
Yeah,
I'm trying my best to,
dodge the bullet.
well, articulate what has been passed on to me and do it in a way where, in an area where I'm just not a subject matter expert, but I want you to be, well informed so you can make an informed decision.
I do think that working together, at first I thought that we should do each one separately, but after listening, it may be better, we may be better served for them to,
With the group effort at the end.
with a group effort at the end, I mean, to summarize what.
My understanding is, and I'll see if I can find an example, in the court process where you have 3 appraisals who've been brought in by the court to appraise whatever the subject property is, they turn something in collectively, and that ends up being the appraised value. They're putting their licensing and credentials on the line,
Yeah.
just like anybody else, so they're not just pulling numbers out of the air.
Right, there's got to be some expertise there.
Yeah.
Let's see what you can find.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. CP5 discussion was next. I think we need Angie in for that. So we get to work on that as soon as possible, but does anybody see Angie in there? No. Check.
Did you get signs agreement from the garage last week?
Yes.
Well, it's being reviewed. Probably
So this was their,
Yes. As far as that, taking down. I think the original was 16.
first business plan.
We're ready for CP5.
$5,000.
Whatever else.
$3,000 upon completion of the signed contract. Why don't you just put that in quality?
I know you guys wanted to get on that as soon as
Same
possible,
thing.
so.
Yes.
3,000 upon signed contract.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Does that's gonna be at the same time as, I didn't even look at that.
Okay, CP5, so where are we at on everything?
Okay, so we have all of the employees with their one step in the system and on the resolution. The only thing we need to know is, in the handbook, or after the salary study, I'm sorry, it was recommended that like a step be given to department heads and elected officials. So we don't have that because we didn't discuss that. You guys hadn't discussed that yet. And that was to prevent having a compression between employees and department heads and all that, or making more than. So in 2024, the commissioners approved a flat $2,200 for each department head and elected official. That was like considered their step. So that would have equated to $1.06 an hour. In 2025, they gave $1,200, and that was 58 cents an hour for considered their step. So I didn't know, if you wanted to figure out something this year to do, because we would need that to put in the system and on the resolution for you guys. We'd like to get that approved today, in case he's going to start payroll right after. So,
And last year, you said it was 1,200 last year?
yeah, it was $1,200 last
had-
year and $2,200 the year before.
And how was that derived?
Well, I think, when I look at this, I think, like, one year they did it based off a higher step, and then the previous year, or the next year, like in 2024, I think they did it off the difference of a higher step, and in 2025, they did it off the difference of a lower step, or a mid-range step. So in your books, you have your step chart. No, you don't have your step chart. I'll have to get you a stuff chart. I'm sorry about that. Let me print it off.
Step charts and
I'll print it out here. Hold on just a minute. I'm sorry, I didn't have that either. Okay, here it is.
Heidi, her revised job description. She's taken a bunch of stuff out of it when she was up at the road and bridge that she was responsible for, and they've added more to it. So she was wanting us to review that and see what we thought about it. Because currently she's
Didn't print all that. Police Senate, Police Senate, page one, page two, page three, page four, right?
yeah, well, she just brought it in here. I know, but I see what you do for and then what you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then she sent
Or
me
the
this,
page
she
one,
said, if we
one,
got questions, she'll be glad to come
Can't
up and
remember. Oh,
answer them.
I'll get it. I forget.
It should be one, two, three.
I do it all the time.
If you're willing to
This is one.
go out of order, I have someone who's willing to answer your questions so that I don't have to fail miserably at doing it on the appraisal side.
She's taken, she
You mean
revised
like
it when she was.
addressing me right now? Like,
So,
I get them on the phone, and
let's do it.
yeah.
that way you have,
Yeah.
So basically, she's wanting, because she's taken over her, and they told her I would, she's not doing half the stuff that I did anymore, but she's doing more for the design stuff. So she's kind of. How much more? She didn't throw me there. I wanted to. So basically, this would be based upon revision of her job description from when she was at the road and bridge to running her own.
Get the study done, and go from there.
She's revised her job description.
I answer who we have in this one.
That's what we're doing for sure.
Yeah, that's fair too. We don't have like everybody's.
I want to ask for another thing.
But
And
anyway,
you've given it to us before on department heads' salaries through the years, that were the increases, some of them are percentages, some of them.
Oh,
are
that's on
percentages.
COLA. Yeah,
Oh, it was on COLA?
that was only on COLA, yeah.
Okay.
Angie, I think we're gonna do a quick pause and,
Oh, okay.
wait, got some information for
Okay, do you
something on the
do
fridge.
you still want that?
If it was on COLA, no. I
Okay,
just-
yeah, this is on COLA.
Okay, what you got?
so I have a familiar name to probably everybody, Jeff Clark. He can fill you in on his credentials and then, kind of go from there, answer questions. Jeff, you're on speakerphone, you're sitting in front of the commissioners.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to really behave then.
Yeah, sure, Jeff.
Good
morning, Jeff.
That's right.
Don't let us
Good
down,
morning,
Jeff.
guys.
And you're on YouTube, don't forget that.
Oh, boy, look out. Well, I'll try to do my best to explain without tooting my own horn. I've been an appraiser, residential and also agricultural for about 34 years, as well as having my other business, but I've worked for a lot of courts, condemnations, easements, worked for most of the small bank lenders in the communities, within five counties. And so I've been doing this a long time. A lot of people don't know that. Just kind of word of mouth and stay so busy, which is very blessed to have the business that I don't need to advertise and on and on and on. But what I wanted to do was kind of explain a little bit typically. Now you guys are in charge, and I'll do whatever you want to do. Typically, when we do a condemnation, which is a taking, eminent domain, or even an easement, when it goes to the court, to the judge, and this has not, but I'm just saying, USPAP is our rules that we have to follow. That's the Uniform Standard of Appraisal Practices. And so when you're an appraiser, there's pretty strict rules, thanks to the crash in the 80s, with inflated appraisal values and on and on and on. But so we're held to certain ways we have to do things, and so you have to abide by that. So back to what I would suggest, and I'll do whatever you want. Typically, when you come to impasse, or it's you're going to appraise a property like the county has, you have 3 appraisers come together. They view the property. They talk about the property. They also meet after the property with independent values. And I know a lot of people they're thinking, well, if I get 3 separate appraisals, then these guys aren't going to disagree with each other and come up with a value, that's not how that works. In fact, sometimes it's spirited debate, for lack of a better term, at the meetings that values, and you come up with this value. In this case, with that property, you have we call it a unique property. Now, there's ag land sold. Wade, you know this. There's ag land sold all over the country. There's homes, maybe not as nice as the home we're talking about, all over the country. But when you meld those two things together, and the only way to properly appraise those is to split the house off with acreage, and then appraise the farm ground or the ag ground separate, and then bring those two together for a fair market value, which is a willing buyer and a willing seller in a free, well-advertised open market. And so that particular house we're speaking about, probably not going to find a lot of comparables, which is, and if you guys think I'm lecturing you, or stop me wherever. I don't want that, but to follow USPAP, you have to have comparables. Generally within 12 months is what they do. 1 year you go back on sales, and then you have to find a house just like that, or as close to that house that is sold within a 12-month period, and then make the adjustments, bedroom count, square footage, on and on and on, and then you come up with a value, and then you go to the cost approach. What would it cost to build that house brand new today, and then depreciate it back? And so those two different approaches come to one. The reason we're having problems finding people on board to help appraise is because a lot of people are just residential appraisers, and so they do houses day in and day out, but they don't value agricultural land. And so, not that I'm any smarter than them, but in my business, I do both of those. Doesn't mean I'm a better appraiser. It just means it's really hard to find. And the people that we've reached out to, there's some local appraisers that are good. They have so much business doing residential appraisals that they don't need to go out and try to find a section, township, and range, and appraise a piece of ag ground, which in our area, and Wade, no disrespect, but farming, the farm production of a piece of property is not its highest and best use. It's recreation for somebody coming out of the city that wants to buy, land to hunt and fish and ride their four-wheeler and build a little cabin and stuff. And so while the ground has ag value, production value, it also has recreation value, and so those comparables are brought together. So that's the reason that it's really hard to get anybody on board, even appraisers that I know, because all they do is residential or all they do is ag, and they seldom do both. So if I'm kind of explaining why we're kind of in a predicament here. Now, I'm not a general appraiser. A general appraiser is the highest qualification. They can do shopping malls, they can do multi-million-dollar, on and on and on. A general appraiser, you might find a general that will do both of those. You're going to spend some more money. It's a very detailed, and they're probably going to come up with the same value as you would 3 appraisers. Now, you don't have to use an appraiser. It could be one appraiser and somebody that knows agriculture, which would be a farmer, or you could also use a realtor. The realtor then, of course, couldn't be involved in the sale. They have to be real transparent about that. But you could do any combination of that if you wanted to. But all in all, if an appraiser is doing his job, me included, they're going to come up with pretty close to the same value on that property. And so I'm going to let you guys ask me questions, and I'll try to answer them.
Jeff McCurry, Steve McCurry.
Yes, sir.
When you talk about comparables, is that just within the county, or do you go outside the county to try to find comparable?
Yeah.
You do go outside the county then?
Yes, sir, and that's a great question. So with a home that we're speaking at, a nicer home like that, probably not going to have, I'm just thinking back through my mind, all appraisers have portals, they call, that they can go in and extract the information from the counties to find that, and find out the true value of what a sale was, not what just somebody said at the coffee shop.
Sure.
Yeah, probably going to have to eke up to Franklin County, not in Coffee County, because here again, it can't be prior chip plant prices that people were paying for homes, more than asking prices, because that time's over. It has to be within about 12 months.
Right.
There's a few nicer homes like that are sold, but probably, that's great. And so we will have to start in the circle, and maybe look towards Emporia, Lyon County, maybe even as far as up to the southern Shawnee County.
Sure.
Jeff, with this parcel of ground, I think there's no agricultural use to it other than hay in the parcel that we're trying to sell. I think it'd be more recreational.
Yeah, Wade Thompson, I agree with what you said before. For instance, you could take a nice bare hay meadow and that's been greatly maintained, and right now, one that's been neglected, that's got a bunch of trees up and down the draws and scattered across it, will bring 30% premium or more because of the hunting value. And then, to me, that's a little bit what we've got here is I think this is going to be more valuable because it complements this considerable value home that's on it. Or that would be my thought. I don't know.
No, that's correct. That's correct. That's exactly. Yeah, you ought to be in my shoes having to tell a guy that's kept a piece of property nice and clean over the years and spray program. That timber across the road over there, that's going to bring a lot more. But that's just it. And keep in mind, guys, it's just an opinion of value, meaning a professional opinion of value. And when we work for you, you can price that property. I tell this all the time when I hand over an appraisal. This is a fair market opinion of value, which normally a lender would lend on that. So you kind of know where you're at. You can ask whatever you want for the property. This would just tell you, you wouldn't leave any money on the table, I guess is the term.
Well, I think at this point, we're looking for or at least this is my opinion, we're looking for an appraisal to try to base, if we're gonna put a minimum on this. I mean, a public auction, that's why I feel it's important, especially with, public-owned property like this, that a public auction is gonna give us what the value is for everyone that's interested in it. Everybody has a chance to bid. It can't be, well, the realtor went ahead and sold it to Joe, and Bob would've gave more if he'd had a chance to raise his bid again, whereas the public auction gives us, you know, that opportunity. We're looking for what we wanna base a minimum on. I mean, you know, we want what you feel is a true value, but then, you know, are we willing to take less than that, you know?
And that's
we
what
wanna
we're-
sell it, you know, that's what we're most interested in.
And that's what we're looking for, is a baseline to work off of.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and I think you're right, Wade, you're spot on there, because you expose that to the market, we call it in our business, and you do, and I don't know who's gonna handle it for you, but if Rob does it, he does it right and the best. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got that thing exposed, you've got, you know, people can be, an absentee bidder can be some guy that wants to hunt, you know, in Vermont, that wants to hunt turkeys back here, or, you know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
You've got a right online there, so you've got that hybrid, I think they call it. And so, yeah, correct. I think nobody sees that, but me, and let's just say somebody sees me after that house, they go, man, I've been thinking about buying that from the county. What do you come up with? I can't tell them.
Right.
You know, it's all confidential. I'm held legally to that. And in our small towns and small markets, things need to, you know, they have to stay tight-lipped like that. So, yeah, and I just think and I'm not telling you what to do, but if the other appraisers would be willing to work with in a group, because then they don't have to have the expertise or the professional agricultural component of this.
Right.
But yet, for instance, Scott Steele is a good appraiser. He's in Franklin County. He's got some of those higher dollar homes. He kind of knows that niche too. They don't want to expose themselves because we're audited to something they don't know, and then, you know, get a black mark or get turned into the association but as long as they're together as a group, then they feel comfortable they know what they know, and I know what I know, and we come together with that, discuss it, and come up with a value.
So, Jeff, would each appraiser do their own work and then you guys get together, or would you do the work as a whole to start with? I'm just curious.
Right. So generally, there's a lead appraiser, for lack of better terms. Doesn't mean they're any better than the other one, but they kind of take the lead. And so, yes, we all do it, and it's called a work file. It's not typed up, but we have to keep it for 5 years. And so we all do our work independently, then we meet together, and then we come up with these values. And like I said, I've done a few of these, that it's a pretty spirited debate, for lack of better terms. You know, it's easy to say, hey, I think that house is worth $1 million, but in our business, we have to prove that on paper.
Right.
And that's where you would be looking for the comparables to base something like that on, correct?
That's correct. And then the cost approach gets into that too. So what would it cost to build that house today, depreciated back off by how well it's kept, which I haven't been in the house, but I'm sure that there's not much, you know, deferred maintenance that it might need. Now, I will tell you this, guys, the swimming pools don't bring dollar for dollar what people think they do. In fact, I've done a lot of appraisals where they filled the swimming pool in and made a putting course on it. You know, I mean, so, and I'm not saying, but to the right buyer, oh, you know, I've been looking for a place just like that. So, when you're not going to see $100,000 allotment for that swimming pool in that appraisal. You know, you're gonna get value for it, but you're not gonna have those outbuildings on that property. I haven't pulled the information, but I have driven by it. I mean, that's gonna make that property pretty valuable.
Yeah.
One of those buyers that wants to park his toys.
Yeah. Well, the outbuilding's nice enough to live in, from what I've been told.
Yeah, and those are components, and if there's a granite top and a big kitchen, then that's important to the wife.
Yeah.
Jeff, this is Mark. I had a question about compensation. I mean, as far as the appraisers, if you're talking individual appraisers, do they bill the county separately, or if you're working together as a group? I mean, does that affect that at all, the compensation?
Yeah, that's another good question. So typically, and this has to do with anybody's craft, just to do and we're all pretty basic, it's about $500 just for a simple residential appraisal. And there's a lot that goes with that, Mark. We licenses, we have continuing education every year, on and on and on. Software, blah, blah, blah. So it seems like, man, that's a lot of money to pay somebody. But to answer your question, I kind of looked at this when Wade had contacted me about it. And generally, by the time you meet out there, by the time you have another separate meeting, you spend time on these things, which is important, you're looking at $1,000 individually a piece. It's like doing 2 appraisals. And so, the acreage is a whole separate meeting and appraisal, and then the house and what's surveyed off is another appraisal. So there's a couple meetings in there. So let's just say you had 3 people do it. Yeah, each person, it would be, my estimate would be $1,000 each.
Okay, I guess, so would that be billed individually, I mean, from each individual appraiser?
Do I?
Yeah, and I was thinking about that. Wade had kind of sent me something on that. Typically, and I say typically, when you do condemnation or whatever, this is not that, but there is a sheet that's typed up, and Wade could do it. Basically, it says values, and all we do is fill in that value. We sign an engagement letter, which means I've agreed to do this, which engages the appraiser. We sign that, and then each person will have a piece of paper they sign. Basically, will invoice the county separately. If that answers your question, Mark.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Jeff, you think $1,000 per appraiser is fair?
It depends on how much time that would be, that's kind of like the minimum, actually. There's a ton of work that goes into that. So, yeah, I do. Sometimes in the courts, it's the last condemnation I did, I won't mention it, but it was, or easements, coming through our part of the world down there, it was $2,500. And so there's just a lot of information you have to pull together. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And you don't have to have 3. That's just typically what the court does. You could have 2 people, and it doesn't have to be me. I'd be glad to help you, kind of navigate through this. It doesn't have to be me. I have plenty of them to do, but you could just have 2 people.
But
you could have. Go ahead.
It seems like 3 would be, in my opinion, 3 would be a better go, just because of the work involved, and because you guys do a lot of homework. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to do a lot of homework to come up with those appraisals, and I guess personally I would rather see 3 do it than 2, but that's, again, Jeff, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and that's fine, and it could be, for lack of better terms, maybe a lay person. It could be a farmer. It could be the problem is in our small communities. Let's say that farmer or that a person that would know the market may want to bid on that, so there'd be conflict of interest,
Right.
Or that information that gets out that's not held to the credentials of an appraiser, which means not talking about it. That information might get out through those channels of somebody that wasn't held legally, if that makes sense.
Okay. Have any other questions for Jeff?
That helps a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of good information, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, I better get back to work before my boss gets on me.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks,
You
Jeff.
guys have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Sorry to hijack the meeting, but.
No,
No,
that was good.
No, that was good. That's what we
Yeah,
need to
get it done when it's
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
Put me at ease on it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he explained things like
So with that, I suggest chew on it, and then in roundtable, I'll bring it back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready for Angie again. We better get this done so they can
Oh, yeah.
run. She's on in the back. There you go. It could be a Flint Oak and make millions and millions of dollars.
Do I?
It could be a Flint Oak. You've been down there. Sorry to put you on hold, but got a lot of good information that we needed.
Where we at?
The CP5 discussion, and we're talking about coming up with a salary step for lack of a better word, for the department heads and county or elected officials.
Did I give you?
Pardon?
Did we get that paper from her?
Yeah.
This one?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought, did I miss giving you one?
No.
Okay. So in 2024, the increase amounted to $2,200. 2025, it amounted to $1,200. And this is for all the department heads, that's across the board for department heads and elected officials. Correct? And choosing what step, that was, before it was a 22-step chart, and now we're at a 15-step chart, right?
Right.
I'd suggest we go with $1,200, get the study over with, and reevaluate this again next year.
Oh, I agree.
That's about what I was getting ready to say.
And to go back to 24, I think the reason it was 20, and I may be mistaken on this, but we had some folks come in and request a certain amount, and it was, if I remember right, it was higher than that amount, and that, the 2,200 was down from what the asking was.
Yeah.
And so last year then, it was decided to go with the 1,200. I think that's how it came about.
I believe you're
that's-
right.
Yeah, that does start to make sense now too.
Because
then I
it-
think the year before you didn't do it. They
The
didn't
year
do
bef-
anything or something.
Right, and then they came in and the
Yeah.
amount was up here and we agreed to an amount down here is how the 2,200 came around. Whether that be right or wrong, I think that's how it happened. And then
So-
last year, I can't even think how we came up with the 1,200 on that, but.
I thought, I can't remember either, but I do think that's the reason the other one was
Right,
bigger now
right,
that you say that.
right.
So. It's a good thing there's more minds in here than one.
Well, sometimes my mind isn't here, but it comes and goes, how's that?
So we're
I'm gonna
basically,
get a motion here.
okay, so we're basically in agreement for $1,200?
Yeah. Do we have, instances where employees are, once they get their raise, that they're probably would go above their department head?
That will happen if something's not done to keep.
Yeah, but
different.
this would be sufficient to,
Probably till the salary study's done, yeah.
okay.
And then next year,
Yeah.
revisit, yeah, because by then we'll have the information.
Next year, we'll go off the recommendations of what the salary study comes
Exactly.
up with here. So
Yeah.
we're talking 3 or 4 months before the salary study's
Yeah.
done, so.
Hold on, I can't find my motion.
So, on how you feel
She's considered a department head.
No, she's not.
That might be something else to thoroughly improve the salary study.
Yeah, okay,
So we remember to bring it up.
right.
Sorry, just bear with me a minute here.
Be in touch. I'm not allowing that one. Not sure.
She's more than $1,200.
I'll just read it, I can't find it right now.
Yeah, she's not a
Yeah,
department.
then they don't need to be 12. They don't need to be 12.
I don't know if we can, how would we do that?
Oh, here it is.
That wouldn't be a true step then.
No, well, that's true, she's not a head.
Yeah, yeah, but we kind of talked about not doing that at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, we don't have anybody else like that.
This one's covered, this one's.
Over my dead body.
That's what they need.
And then, you did have last year who have been in their positions since January 1, 2025. Do you want that same thing if they've been in the position
Say,
since?
say that again.
You had it in parentheses to increase salaries for department heads and elected officials who've been in their positions since January 1 of 2025. That was last year.
What do you think?
Same
Same thing,
January
but in
1,
2026.
2026.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, it's there now,
Yeah, see, they're not.
if you like it.
Well, like we need to look at it.
Wade, do you have a chance to look at that motion?
We're gonna do one of them.
When's this effective?
It would be
But they're
effective
still salary.
March 16th.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
You probably need to add that in there.
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
That's how the steps for employees are being, going back to March 16th, so they'll be on the April payroll.
So this will be consistent with other employees.
Yeah.
oh, and then that'll be for this pay period then?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see an issue with this. Does that mean we're all gonna have to go back and change our CP5 since?
No.
Okay.
We're gonna pass a resolution, salary resolution here. And we're gonna update the CP4U, which is that one sheet that has department heads and elected officials on it.
I'm just thinking for the back end. So I use county attorney as an example. What the current pay is does not include the increase. So does that need to be adjusted in all these?
Oh.
Okay,
We haven't done that in the past.
okay.
We just update the CP4U sheet, which is here,
Yep,
and then next year you would go off of that for your,
okay.
But on that sheet, there's people in our departments that are also salary that aren't department heads.
right, but your motion is, increase salaries for department heads and elected officials. So those that aren't department heads or elected officials won't be updated. We'll update the CP4U, giving those department heads and elected officials the
Well,
increase.
we've got some increases in that are non-department heads that are salary, they're substantial.
Say that again, Todd.
There's some non-department heads that have raises that are substantial compared to what we're giving.
Because of their step, right?
And then we've got some departments that aren't giving raises that are salary, that are not department heads. You see it there, Steve?
Yes, I do.
Which one you looking at? Oh.
So if a department head had a salaried person under them and they weren't satisfied with that person's performance, that person wouldn't necessarily have to get that step.
Yeah.
But we leave that up to the department head, correct?
Yes.
And as far as what we're doing for the department heads and elected officials, I mean, we're gonna do 1,200 and then refer it to McGrath to review and see if we need to do anything differently.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to that compression issue, because I think what we're talking about is somewhat of a compression issue.
You're having a compression issue, if the heads aren't getting a salary increase in this.
That's this much or more.
Yes, right, and it's crushing it in there.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, so, but if this department head said this salaried person under them should get the step, and we said they shouldn't, then what happens?
Well, then you either, deal with that department head directly on whatever your concerns are, but you've hired them to run the department.
Okay.
But then I would think that they should be able to submit to us a justification why that happens in writing, so it's, well, they're working hard.
Yeah, I just didn't know how that worked, I mean, that
Yeah.
decision,
Yeah, I mean, you're ultimately over the department head.
Right.
but it would still be their decision. Okay, that answers my question. So something in here, we're moving to increase department heads and elected officials. We're elected officials, but we don't want to raise.
Right, it's excluding the commissioners below if you see.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's what you had last year.
Yeah,
So I just
right.
copied it
I
and
just
you guys
copied
can
it.
modify
I
it.
just wanted to make sure that everybody gets that,
Yeah.
you know.
What if, so we don't cause more of a problem with compression, if the head and the salary person under that, they both receive 12? That's gonna keep compression from happening. It's not gonna separate anybody.
You're talking on that one.
There's several in there.
But can I add something there?
Sure.
You've got the other salary people on a step system, and if their step going from like 10 to 11 or whatever it is, 1 to 2,
Oh,
Because
Or
they're
because
higher,
yeah,
they're getting a
That's
bigger
what-
bump than that for the step.
And I think if we have a concern with that, I mean, we need to bring it up with McGrath and.
I do think we need to have a working session with the crafts to talk
Yeah.
about some of these things.
Right.
right, which I assume that
agree.
we will have.
Will we?
Or-
I'm sure you will. I'll be bringing that contract, it's actually being printed right now, coming over. There was
Okay.
a couple changes.
Okay, are we okay moving forward with this motion?
Yeah.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to increase salaries for department heads and elected officials who have been in their positions since January 1, 2026. $1,200 per year excluding the commissioners, and to authorize the county clerk to update the CP4U form effective March 16, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
McCurry moved, Thompson seconded. Do we have any further discussion on that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
wouldn't get anything right.
That's a
because
total
it's not an
salary.
actual,
Takes in.
it's just a salary person with that title, but it doesn't.
Which one's that? You want under? Yeah.
So I don't think that one would.
Did I say, was anybody opposed?
You did. Nobody. I didn't hear
Okay.
anybody.
That passed 5-0. Okay, decide what's going on.
Huh?
So that motion passed 5-0, but.
Okay, so that one. There's nothing. Does that mean I should go ahead and just do everyone here? Kinda thinking so.
Well, we did say CP4U, so if it's, something's gonna change, we need to do that separately sometime. That might be a McGrath thing too.
So just do everybody.
Okay.
All right, we'll get it updated and. Yeah.
We're taking notes on everything we need to ask. List is growing. I believe we're probably ready to take a break, however, looking at the agenda, I have a feeling our discussion on housing authority may be fairly lengthy, possibly. So what I would like to do is when we come back, we'll go ahead and tackle economic development, road and bridge, and then sheriff. And we'll get those done as soon as we can, and then just move the housing authority to the end of the agenda. So that's the plan.
I'm all good. I'm just here to fuck you. You guys do what you need to do.
All right, we'll take a break, and return at 10:25. Mr. Bannon, please here. Okay, it's 10:25 and we're back in session. Our next agenda item will be Economic Development Director Jenny Tappan. All right.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So I just had, wanted to have a quick discussion about the revolving loan fund. And I've had it on my desk for over a month. I've been kind of going through and looking at the guidelines that we have. And so when somebody comes to me, you know, asking about the revolving loan fund, we've got the guidelines posted on the website. I usually give them a copy of the guidelines, and then there's an application, which then they have to fill that out if they're interested, and you guys kind of know the process from there. Well, I've been kind of re-looking at the guidelines just to make sure that they're clear and they can easily explain if somebody comes in and is interested in the fund, they know kind of upfront how it works. So I just updated them a little bit. I think I sent you guys my suggestions for the update for the guidelines and then what they are currently. And I have copies. I didn't know if anybody needed. Okay. This is the suggested update.
How many copies do you have?
Enough for everybody.
All right.
Go.
Thank you.
Mike, did you want a copy?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
So you had, you made some changes.
So, the biggest change is, some things I reworded a little bit, but really putting up front, some things that we were already sort of doing anyway. One was definitely spelling out the gap financing strategy, and talking with our local banks and looking at other revolving loan funds. And I think kind of based on our last loan that we did, sort of moving into that, we want to make sure that we're working with local lenders and not competing with local lenders. I also met with Richard a few times, and we kind of discussed this, and that was one of his suggestions too, is to make sure we're not competing with local banks. So it kind of spells that out there to make sure that the purpose of this loan fund is to kind of bridge that gap between what local lenders can do for a project that would be creating new jobs or expanding, you know, our current employers, when there's a project that we know it's going to be good for the county. So I put that in there. I did kind of spell out the loan terms a little bit, just because looking at it, you know, we want to make sure that they understand if they're asking for, loan funds for, you know, real estate or building a building, that might be a 10 to 20 year loan, but if they're looking at, something for working capital or equipment, they're probably not gonna get a 20-year loan. Because
right.
we just know that's not how that works. So there's still some wiggle room in there. That's kind of the biggest changes. And then on the last couple pages, you know, I spelled out the application requirements, like the attachments and things. Those were already in the application anyway. It just made it really easy for somebody to look at and know what they're going to be expected to provide. Especially with the business plan, we want to make sure that they have that when they're putting in the application. So I just wanted to make sure you guys saw that. I don't know if you need to do a resolution or anything or approve it, but just making sure if you had any concerns that I could address that.
So just for information, on the second page here, you say owner commitment and guarantees. This as an example, you say owner equity requirement, a minimum of 10 to 20% cash equity. So that figure, 10 to 20, is going to be decided at the time based on the situation.
Right.
So it's
and it gives, again, I wanted to give us some flexibility.
Yeah.
Depending on the project and the risk and kind of, and we asked that in the application anyway, how much equity they were putting into the project. So again, I just wanted to spell it out so that we kind of had some expectations when people were coming to me and they didn't think, oh, well, she's just deciding that because she wanted to.
No, and the same way with the buildings, 10 to 20 years or whatever, that's going to be based on the situation.
And the same thing, like on page 2 with performance monitoring, it just says, you know, we're spelling out that this loan fund is intended to invest in community growth and jobs. It doesn't say, you know, specifically anything what, you know, if they don't create jobs that we're going to do a whatever certain interest rate. It just says it could happen, and I think we want people to just know that, like, what the loan is intended for. So, and it helps me to be clear with people too when they're coming and asking questions about the loan
This
fund.
way you've got it on paper and
Yeah.
just put it down there.
Yeah, so you can just say, here, take a look at this, and what questions do you have?
Is this gonna cause a problem, Jenny, if you charge one individual a cash equity at 10%, and you charge somebody at 30%, and that word gets out?
As far as like owner commitment,
Yeah,
I think
owner equity requirements?
I think as long as we can point back to, you know, the application and we can kind of assess that risk.
Reasoning why.
Right. Something else I wanted to bring up, and I haven't really had time to deep dive into it, but something else I was looking at and going through the training last week and looking at other loan, similar loan funds that we have, is the option of possibly looking at a like a loan fund review board. I know that's something that Regional Planning Commission has, other similar loan funds have. I don't have time to put anything together yet, but that's something I may be like looking more into and bringing to you guys as far as someone else besides me, maybe local bankers or business owners or city leaders, to review the loan applications alongside me. So it helps to maybe make some of those decisions and not just put it on one person or even on you guys to talk about openly in a commission meeting.
Because generally, a lending institution is involved somewhere along the line anyway on something like this.
Right.
Is
And
that
obviously, if say Bank A was going to be another lender, but that person was also on a review board, we wouldn't have them doing both.
Right.
If we did that, but it might have a, 4 or 5 other people that know what's going on to kind of review and make recommendations. And I did also want to just note again, give you an update. We do currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 active loans. They are all current as of April 7th. we're currently taking in about $5,000 a month in loan payments into the fund, minus there's one loan that we have that just does a $33,000 roughly payment per year. But the others are generating about $5,000 back into that fund. The current fund amount is at $426,287.49, and that is after we did the payment to our last loan that we approved. So, just to give you an idea where we're at. But any other questions or comments on that?
So on the application requirements, are the or 4 requirements or 5?
Huh? Oops. Sorry, let me go to that page. Oh, I think it would help if I could number, huh? So it's 4.
There's 4, okay, that's good.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. There was probably something else in there and I took it out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was curious if something was omitted or not, but.
No, I think I was trying to kind of match it up to the application, but it gives you an overview of the requirements of the
Okay.
application.
1, 2, 4, 5.
1, 2, 4, 5.
What is there is, everything's there.
Yeah, number 3 is the. Yeah, and I am kind of getting back into things. If there was any emails I missed last week, I was at that Heartland Economic Development training from Tuesday through Friday. They had a full schedule for us from like 8 to 5 every day, plus dinners, networking dinners in the evening. So it was a really good training, and I did bring back some things I'm going to try to implement into our program. So I'll follow up with you guys probably on that soon.
Great.
Cool.
So, do we need to take any action on this, or just?
I don't know if there's a history of action being taken.
I think it was more just, I want to make sure you guys didn't have any concerns and I'll
I'm
let
fine
you know.
with that, so.
Okay. If you do, or you see any questions on it, stop by my office and give me a call. Okay?
Jenny, since you brought up the current loans that are out there,
Mm-hmm.
maybe for everybody who's here who watches online, are any of those loans just wiped out and forgiven for any reason?
No, all of the, what did I say, we have 5?
5.
Not here. So the 5 that we have, like I said, they make their payments either monthly, there's the one yearly. There's no expectation after any certain time that those loans will be forgiven. They all know they do their monthly payments unless they decide to pay it in full. That is the requirement.
And each of those loans has interest that they pay on top of whatever it is.
Correct. When the loan is approved, they get a payment schedule, and that includes interest for the entire, let's say it's a 10-year loan, so they know up front, and the interest is put into their monthly payment.
Is there a penalty for paying the loan off early?
No.
And do you have some loans that are paying in advance?
Yes, we do have several of our loans that are making advanced payments. I only have right in front of me the summary, but I do know that some of them pay like $1,000 or something like that extra every month.
They're gonna be paying off ahead of schedule
Yes.
if they continue.
I can't tell you offhand. I have it downstairs in our records what the payments are versus what they've been paying, but
Okay.
yeah.
And to your knowledge, to my knowledge, there's only been one of the loans that has not done well. All the others have either paid off
Right.
early or are paying under their current terms.
Yeah. The information I have, and I've got a list of our non-active loans. This is for any loans that were paid off since 2023. I don't know when they originated, but we had 2 that were paid in full, and then there was one default, but I think that's the only one I know of going back for the last 6 years. I'm not sure before that time. We have a record of it, but I couldn't tell you. Good questions, though.
All right, any other questions for Jenny?
All
All
right,
right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Are you wanting that?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Okay, next on the agenda is, Road and Bridge Superintendent Ryan Durst.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We've got quite a bit to go over today. May take care of these motions, and then on this project book discussion, I know there's a lot going on in here. I could put that off till either next week or wait till the end of the meeting today. That's gonna be about another 20 minutes probably there, so we might put it off on the backside or whatever you guys would like to do there.
Okay. Yeah, we might delay that just a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Maybe, a little bit later in the meeting.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, storm damage, really we left out, I think. I had heard some miscellaneous trees and whatnot. Lebo, Waverly area, but sounds like all of that had some damage up there, so, it looked pretty gnarly out. Pretty fortunate. First motion I have be a CP2 for new hire Clayton Bauman for the asphalt crew. Be bringing him in at a step 2 due to his equipment experience.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to review and approve the CP2 payroll notice for Clayton Bauman, heavy equipment operator, highway, new hire, wage classification 35-02, with a wage of $22.02, effective April 20th, 2026.
I'll move.
Okay, Thompson moved, McCurry seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passes 5-0.
Alright, thanks. The next one is a CP2 for a part-time summer help for the asphalt crew, Jason Bailey.
Okay, entertain a motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the CP2 for Jason Bailey, labor crew member, highway department, wage classification 5-01, wage $15.96, effective April 20th, 2026. Number of hours worked not to exceed 1,000.
So moved.
Seconded. Abendroth moved, Barker seconded. Any discussion?
How can he start the 20th? Is he a student or what's going on here in summer help?
No, I mean, he's an adult.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's effective today.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
Alright, thank you. Next, last week I had a motion to fill the crew supervisor's position. It's gonna become an open due to retirement. So this is, CP2 to fill that. This would be Dylan Wanzer. He's currently been a leadman on that crew for several years.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to review and approve the CP2 payroll notice for Dylan Wanzer, crew supervisor, highway department. Promotion from wage classification 40-07 to 55-02. From wage $26.68 to $28.50, effective May 1st, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Okay, McCurry moved, Peterson second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
That was McCurry and Peterson.
Yes.
Alright, thank you. Next, be a motion to hire a crew leader due to this last promotion.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion based upon the recommendation of the Road and Bridge Superintendent to hire one crew leader. No position is being added. This request will fill a current vacant position within the department due to promotion. I'll move.
I'll second
Okay, Peterson moved, Parker second. Any discussion?
So would that be open to in-department and outside people both?
Yeah, we probably should have had in-house only on this one. That's typically how we run, the leadership ones like that. So we might modify that. Just advertise for in-house only.
Where are we at?
On the motion for the
Truck driver?
crew leader.
Dash 40
Right,
motion.
hire one
Drivers,
crew leader.
Move it to hire one crew leader in-house.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, since I made the motion, I guess I'll modify it to say in-house. Or, my career made the motion, I'm sorry. No, I made the
You
motion.
made the motion.
Somebody did.
You made
I was
it.
thinking the motion before that. Todd, are you okay with the, okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
Alright, thank you. Next is a motion to approve a CDL job description. This was actually approved back in 2022, but was never, signed off by the commission, so I just wanted to get it updated and get the signatures on there.
Was there an increase in the pay grade?
The change, this was a pay grade 30 and it went to a 35 back at that time, from a 30 to a 35.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion based upon the recommendation of the road and bridge superintendent to sign the truck driver 2 job description. This was previously approved by motion May 23rd, 2022, but was not signed.
I'll move.
I'll second it.
Okay, Thompson moved, Appendraw seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next, went out for bid for a couple bridge design proposals. We received 3 bids back, one for BG Consultants, one for Kirk and Michael, and one for Cook Flat. Sent that information up to you guys. You know, we recently ordered BG some bridge stuff and some of the trail stuff, and I think with as much work as we're looking on the bridge design and bridge replacement stuff, you know, it's a good idea not to have one person doing all that stuff. We've got, you know, a bunch of reputable engineers that we work with. I mean, I'd like to award this one to Cook Flat.
Up to $20,000 difference, that's a lot of money. I mean, if they're thinking that they can do it, why wouldn't we save that money with BG Consultants?
Well, I know the last bid that we awarded, it was the exact opposite of that. Now, I know some of that was the proposals, you know, due to proposals, but, you know, Cook Flat was quite a bit lower on the last one, those last bridges, and I mean, I'm fine with either way, but, you know, it's just, I mean, I just think it's good to share work, so I think you get more competitive prices down the road when you're getting prices in on stuff, so, you know, you're looking at $1.5 million worth of bridges down there, probably on these 2 bridges, so,
Any other questions for Ryan on that? Okay, I'd entertain a motion based upon the recommendation of the road and bridge superintendent to approve CFS engineers for design engineering services for bridge replacement of Bridge 169, which is Oxen Road 2.2, and Bridge 156, Third Road T9. Not to exceed $126,000 and funds to be paid from the special bridge fund.
You got a time frame established on these, Ryan?
the design would take place and be completed by the end of the year.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second the motion. McCurry moved, Peterson seconded. Any other discussion on the motion?
So we don't wanna use B&G because of what again?
Well, they've been awarded a lot of work here, I mean, with the trail stuff, and so I think it's good practice to share some of that, the amount of dollars that we spend on the engineering side of bridges and the construction side inspection, there's a lot of stuff that goes out, and so
So they're just doing the designs on these bridges, is that right?
these are the designs, and typically, how it's worked in the last 20 years here, if somebody designs a bridge, that's typically who you're gonna be looking for when it comes to the inspection side, when the construction hits, just 'cause they were there from the start of it.
Sure, come back and inspect what they designed, obviously.
Yeah, and that way, when there's changes and stuff that need to be
So
changed,
they're not
so
actually, we're not actually hiring them to do the bridge,
this is just the design, it's design only.
okay?
I was saying a couple of weeks ago, it was just the opposite. I think there's like $25,000 or $30,000 difference, I think, in what was that, the preliminary?
The RFPs for the Leroy Bridge study down there.
What was our basis then?
The proposals that were put out, the BG's was, more in depth on that one, and,
So we took them because they had a more in-depth
the proposals,
proposal.
that was the recommendations,
But
that was the recommendations of Keith,
Their bid
Keith's
was,
reviews,
their bid was higher.
correct.
Okay.
Keith reviewed this one also.
And he stated the same case I did, it's a good idea to share the work,
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
Aye.
So
Which one did you do?
that's the, bridge, well,
Oh, the one you just,
the
Dash 34.
for CFS, so.
Okay,
So
so-
it failed two to three. Me and Steve voted yes,
Okay,
everybody else
so-
voted.
motion passed, 2 yes.
So, I'm
motion
assuming you
didn't
need a
pass.
motion with BG Consultants? Or do you guys want something?
But she's got, the motion passed, it didn't.
No.
No, motion
No,
failed, I'm
failed.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, motion failed,
I
2
assume,
yes, 3 no.
so I assume you want another motion
Please.
with BG Consultants, is that? Okay. I'd entertain a motion based upon the recommendation of the road and bridge superintendent to approve BG Consultants for design engineering services for bridge replacement of Bridge 169, Soxon Road 2.2, and Bridge 156 at Third Road T9, not to exceed $106,967.50. Hold on a second.
I'm sorry. Scroll through.
Bouncing back
Sorry.
and forth here. Funds to be paid from the special bridge fund. Okay, now I'm done.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Barker moved, Thompson seconded. Any other discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Passes 5-0.
Discussion, North property depends, property pins were set last week, so they should be getting that survey filed up there. And mowing beds, we were asked to reach out to the 4 bedders that are mowing the other county parcels. So we received 3 beds back, and so I did have a motion here to award to Goodell Mowing. His bid was $250, the other 2 were $350 per time of mowing. And I wasn't for sure where those funds were gonna be paid out of, so I left that blank.
Do they have a schedule to mow it, or just as needed, or?
Those are typically, not to exceed more than 10 days. as needed.
Okay. Obviously, weather permitting.
Yeah, and I'm sure it needs moved,
I'm sure.
Today.
Yeah, this grass is going crazy.
but
So what funds you want to pay that from? Suggestion?
Let me see where we paid before. Who had it last year, Ryan, do you know?
nobody.
Yeah.
Wade.
Oh, is this for, okay, wait.
This is the
North
north property,
okay.
yes.
You were paying out of community improvement reserve
Yeah, several
for other
times.
things, so do you want to still do that?
Do what?
Community Improvement Reserve?
That's where you've been paying for all the other things?
Yes, we can do that. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to find that the bids submitted by Goodell Mowing Service for the former Bailey property, which is approximately 1/2 mile west of 75 Highway and Old Highway 50, in the amount of $250 per event, to be approved for seasonal mowing, funds to be paid from the Community Improvement Reserve Fund.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
McCurry moved, Davendraw seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
And last little thing here, this is National Work Zone Awareness Week, so we will be putting up some signs and some banners, a couple locations here in town, across from Dairy Queen, and then down here on that lot, just south of the coffee shop down there. So we do that everywhere, just show a little awareness to work zone safety.
Did you look at Sac and Fox?
No, I haven't, I was gonna go get the
I
city
did
up
drive
there.
by there the other day, and I don't know whose it is, but there needs to be a stop sign there.
Stop sign or a T?
It's a T, but it should not be stopped.
Yeah.
Going through from north to south on that, we're not gonna slow down or anything. At least on the T.
You don't want to stop there.
You look at it, I don't know how, but I mean, we don't need a wreck there. If the city needs to, that's
Yeah.
fine.
It costs to stop
It's
there.
crazy. It's in Leba, there's Sac and Fox, it's straight, east of the elevator.
Okay.
There's no cross fauna, and it tees out there in the pavement. And there's not a stop sign or a yield sign or anything. Somebody brought that to my attention, I've driven it 15, 20 years, and never thought anything about it.
Yeah. We'll take a look at it, so. All right, I'll hang out, discuss some project books.
So, when you do actually go through this, you got an estimate of how much time it might take?
Probably 20-ish minutes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
What about the construction project plan?
That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, you're gonna wait?
That's what we're gonna
Okay,
discuss.
all right. So I'm ready for the other motion, I just got it ready now.
Here, we'll go ahead and get Tom real quick. Okay, Sheriff Tom Johnson. You're up. Benchmark contract?
I forwarded to you, so
Okay.
Todd wanted it sent, so I sent last Monday.
I went through it. How can there be a 77% difference in what we do here and what they're gonna charge?
I didn't make a motion.
Oh, okay. I just don't get it from our numbers, cause you're saying it's $13.86 a meal that we're paying. And I figured all this stuff on that I can go through here on them from Benchmark. This is based on 60 meals, they can do it for $3.14. That's 77% difference. I don't understand that. Your numbers, I couldn't, they're just total numbers, I couldn't see what was on that, so. There's a great difference between that, and that's what I'm curious to know.
Well, our numbers have salaries and everything else built into it, is one. And so we're not paying for salaries if Benchmark comes in and does this. So that's one savings. And then,
Wait a minute, I'm gonna, you were doing on that, Benchmark's gonna have to pay salaries also.
true, but it's only based on meals. I mean, their cost to us is only what is built into the meal price. So Benchmark is, if we have 25 here or 70 here, it doesn't matter to them, it's based on the meal.
I find it, if you had 60 people in here, 60 inmates, 3 meals a day, 365 days a year, that's $910,000 that we're paying the county-wise. But they can do that for $206,000. I don't see how they can save that kind of money.
They're buying all their food, I mean, they can buy it in bulk that we can't do.
You're furnishing the equipment.
Well, absolutely we are, yeah, we own that equipment,
You own that equipment.
absolutely.
Are these gonna be people that are employed county-wise, or are they gonna be out of county?
Well, the people that we have here now have the ability to go to work for Benchmark if they want. But that's not, I'm assuming they're gonna hire local, they're gonna hire somebody from Oklahoma City to come out there and work. But that's Benchmark's business.
All they're doing is preparing the food. You're furnishing the kitchen,
That's correct.
The insurance, the facilities, the insurance.
That's correct. They're gonna bring their food in, you know, from their warehouses, and they're gonna bring their people in. They're just handling the food processing for us.
So like like an outside county has inmates here, let's say Woodson County or whatever,
Yeah.
then the cost of the meal is included in that daily rate
That's correct.
that you have
That's correct.
for an outside entity to have people here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because the county's still going to have costs incurred just because of the equipment, insurance, et cetera, maintenance and everything like that.
Absolutely.
Because Benchmark's not going to take care of that.
That's right, they're not.
Electric bill, gas
It does
bill,
seem-
That's what I meant, that's what I meant, yeah.
utilities and.
Yeah, it does seem drastically less, you know, I understand what Todd's
Yeah.
saying, I mean,
When
I
I'm
guess.
saying that we can save a lot of money doing this, like I told you 5 years ago, I didn't want to be in the position I am now where I'm having to hire. Somebody didn't show up because they're sick, then the sheriff's got to go back and put on an apron and cook. Believe me, you don't want my macaroni and cheese, okay?
Yeah.
I just didn't want that, I wanted somebody else to handle it, but I felt that I needed to. I told the public that I'd hire local if I could, and I did that. It's just not been productive for us. And I've fought and fought and fought to try to make it work. And Benchmark has said, we're already doing your phones, we're already doing your tablets. If you ever want to do this, just say so and we can take it over in a couple of weeks. And I said, no, I want to keep it local if I can. Gentlemen, I've fought and fought and fought since we started this. This is not good for me to do what we're doing now. It's not good for the county. I need to have a company take it over, and Benchmark's already doing everything else. They might as well just pick up our food service.
So is there gonna be a cost of us, when I read through the contract, you've gotta provide, 5 inmates to work in the kitchen for them?
Correct.
Is there gonna be a cost for us to have supervision?
They're supervised by the cooking staff.
So Benchmark's gonna take care of all supervision?
That's correct. I mean, in the kitchen itself, absolutely.
As far as keeping the local, Tom, have you approached the hospital about seeing if they would be willing to do this again?
I asked the hospital before we ever talked about putting the kitchen in. And the hospital said, Sheriff, we appreciate you asking, but we can't handle what you're doing. We can barely handle what you're doing now.
Before you expand it.
Alone bringing in 60 people.
I was just thinking about, you said keeping it local, if that would be an option, it would help them out, if
I tried.
they could do it.
Yeah, I tried, when we started this. They just said they couldn't do it.
Not in their capacity.
That's correct.
What do you do if Benchmark shows up and some of their help doesn't show up and you guys don't have anybody in the kitchen with them?
Well, I guess I'll go back and start cooking
Macaroni and
jelly.
cheese.
Yeah.
And they're wanting a 3-year contract?
That's correct.
So, you're getting your supplies from them now?
Yes,
The food that you're preparing now comes from them?
yes.
So your expectation would be that the quality of the food would be
The same.
about the same as what you're doing now?
I sure hope so, nobody's getting skinny back in the jail.
That's where I have the problem with it, Tom. Now, you're buying your product from them, and it's costing us $10.72 more per meal than what they're going to give us a meal for. I just can't fathom that. Because, I mean, even though as big of a market as they've got, they surely don't have a 77% markup.
I don't know, that's just,
That's their bid, I guess.
that's their business, I mean, that's all I can tell you. I don't know, other places all over the United States are using them, that they're a national organization, national company.
I mean, on paper, it looks really good.
I hope it's good, period, but I know it looks good, that's why I brought it to you.
Yeah.
But I'd also hope and almost insist that it's local help that does it, because that was a selling point when you guys put the bond issue out, that we're gonna have our own key.
I understand that. Again, all I can do is say that Benchmark is willing to hire local help if they do that. But I've had a hell of a time trying to get local people in here.
Because you've had come and go quite a bit,
Yes, sir,
and that's part of the problem.
that's part of the problem.
And what was the starting salary like for your kitchen?
It was the bottom, it was, wage 20 or whatever it was,
I think
$17,
I asked
$18
that
an hour.
question. Apologize for asking again. Yeah.
So it's just,
Yeah.
So, we got this monstrous savings that we won't be spending money on. What are you planning on doing with that savings?
I'll turn them back into the county at the end of the year so I can pay the bond.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
Yeah, no, I'm not red holding something else. If it's set for that, it should go back to the county to pay for the bond.
Right.
I'd make a motion to go
Well,
with.
I was gonna
Oh,
say.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you can do that, but, I was gonna ask, are we are we having Tom sign this agreement, or is this something I have to sign?
It's got my signature, but you can do whatever you want to do.
No, it says Coffee County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
So,
Do they,
Did that, go ahead.
I just wanna make sure we had it right.
No, I did it.
Once this is done, Tom, what's the time frame on Benchmark taking over
The first,
the first?
they're willing to come in and, like I said, in 2 weeks, have this run.
And it's for a 3-year contract?
It is.
is there any provisions in there for them to come in and review it annually to adjust market values, labor cost, anything that may be associated with it that could potentially raise it year after year?
I think there was something in the contract on that.
Again, there's always going to be there's something in there. Didn't pay a lot of attention to, but every 6 months, I think they said they wanted to come in and have a sit-down meeting with us and talk about financial. But guys, I've been trying to get this federal inmate thing done and get the marshal service in here, and haven't paid a lot of attention to that, to be truthful.
Yeah.
There's likely a market adjustment.
Yeah, so do they have to have a 3-year contract? I mean,
I'm in commissioning, I can't talk.
That may be part of why the amount's less.
Right.
The longer, so
Oh, I see.
originally, when I took office.
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
are you okay?
I'm okay.
When Tom took office, there were contracts that we discovered that had an automatic renewal to them, and they had had an automatic renewal for years. And I've made sure that what should happen, unless it's something that benefits the entire county, is you cannot have a contract that goes more than the life of your term. So 3-year contracts in line with that. I've pushed Tom for that. I've pushed others for that. I've pushed myself for that unless I can. But you get a discount the longer your contract is. If you only do a 1-year contract, that amount's probably gonna double or triple, because they don't have the incentive to say, they don't know if they're gonna be there just a year, and if they're only gonna be there a year and you decide not to renew, then they might say, yeah, we're gonna,
Well, just a concern with, and I'm not saying that I'm not in favor of it, because I am, but just a background concern with the 3-year contract is, it's 3 years.
First
I mean,
thing-
this is it sounds like it's a, a competent company. They've got they've got the credentials, so I don't see it as being a problem, but you make a 3-year contract and you're.
Most places that I deal with, I put on a yearly contract, like Wade said,
Right.
because I got hosed when I became sheriff, and I was contracted, I couldn't get out of some contract when I was here.
Right.
I actually don't want to do something over my last term, so the new sheriff can make his own decisions when he comes in. But the issue is that everything that we have, all the phones, the chirper systems, is through Benchmark. They're gonna be here, folks. We're not moving that stuff out. So
Right.
they're already gonna be here for years to come. If in 3 years they don't work out in food service, I can kick it out. I can have a provision within 90 days, I think, and get them out anyway in 90 days.
That was my question,
Yeah.
if there's a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't foresee one. It sounds like they're a reputable company.
They are a reputable
Yeah.
company, they've been good to us so far.
What was the effective date again?
Again, I believe it's gonna be May 1st,
May 1st?
as soon as I can get them in here, if they can get somebody.
Tom, is there gonna be any changes in their set mill costs from what you give me to now with what's going on in the Middle East and fuel prices? Are they
No,
gonna
there's,
adjust it, or-
that's brand new last week.
Okay,
They gave us that last week.
that's good.
When we called them and said, hey, inmates are coming in, what are we gonna do? That's what they gave us.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion based upon the recommendation of the sheriff to approve a 3-year contract with Benchmark Government Solutions Food Services Agreement to provide meals for inmates in the law enforcement center effective May 1st, 2026.
I would like to add to that, using local.
If possible. What if it isn't possible?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to feed them anyways.
I know, but I'm just saying if Benchmark can't hire locally, I mean,
Well, we could just put a trailer on there using local help if possible. So,
Tom, are any of the employees that you have now in the kitchen, are they willing to go over to Benchmark?
Yes.
So they're aware of the potential
Oh, yes,
transition?
we've been up front with them and told them what we were possibly gonna do here.
Are their salaries in line?
Couldn't tell you, I haven't asked that.
But then again, they'll lose some of their county benefits too.
That's correct. I don't know what Benchmark
Was
has offered them.
Right.
Couldn't be any capers, so.
okay,
So
there's a
moved.
motion, okay. Barker moved and
Second?
Avondale seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
Okay, you're okay with me signing it then?
You betcha.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
thank you.
Tell me if you need something.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we have the CP4U form updated, so have a motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the updated CP4U form reflecting a $1,200 step increase for department heads and elected officials.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Okay, Curry moved, Peterson seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
And then we'll have the resolution here for you in a little bit.
Okay, good.
There we go. Yep. Okay. And we have, shall we move on to Housing Authority? All right, that's all my papers in order here. Okay, basically today, I guess we were wanting to have a discussion about the housing authority to figure out, what direction to go. We, I guess part of what we need to do is, well, figure out what we're gonna do, number one, because, they're, well, it's not one of the main reasons, but your lease is coming up and soon. We got the budget process coming up. It's a 5-member board. They only have 3 members right now because we have not appointed the other 2 members. So, just need to have a discussion of what we want to do moving forward. I don't know if we need to clarify what the role and value of the housing authority is, or determine if we're gonna keep it the way it is, if we wanna modify it some, or even reconsider what we're doing. I don't know, where do we want, I know it was established, 1992, I believe?
1993 it showed.
I know most of the housing authorities under state statute, I believe, are like cities and or regional. When I say regional, it'd be like ECAN, I believe, and I think a lot of their function, the way I understand it, is to deal with low-income housing, Section 8, stuff like that. There's not many housing authorities on the housing or on the county level that I'm aware of, and a lot of times it's larger counties, and Coffee County, if I remember right, was created to deal with our housing issues, and not, low income was not part of it, I don't believe. I think it was moderate income is what they were looking at to try to solve some housing issues. I know right now they're successful getting some grants, I guess, for rehab and things like that are beneficial to residents, keep them in their homes longer and value and I think you guys also do help with the demolition program, vetting those and bringing them to us. I don't know, where do we want to go with this discussion?
I don't know where to start.
I guess for clarification, the original resolution 395 in section 1, and maybe it was modified at some point, but under bullet 2, the authority is hereby designated A, the power to plan, construct, maintain, operate, and manage any low-rent housing project or projects of the County of Coffee County and all other powers conferred on the County of Coffee, Kansas by the municipal housing law, including the powers to execute contracts with an agency of the government, borrow money, issue bonds, as defined in the municipal housing law, and acquire or dispose of real property. So that is the low rent housing.
Yeah.
Do we have that in, is that in the, where's that
We
at?
have what looks like this.
Lots of different things. I've got 2 separate.
No, I don't. It's not in.
You wanna,
I was just recalling some of the
in this
early discussion they had.
I believe it's on page 3 of what I have there, just compare it to what you have.
Okay.
If it's,
They had that.
And that's the original one?
that's all the original paperwork and original bylaws. That's the resolution that established the housing authority, and I think the bylaws that were incorporated at or near that same time, maybe attached to that resolution.
It would be very small, but there's like, I think like December.
That's what it is.
And if you wanna get a copy of what I have, so you have
Well, I think
the same thing. I think you probably have some of it, but it's helpful.
So originally, this was designed for low rent housing projects.
I think the state statutes, I mean, allow for that. I just remember a lot of the discussion they had early on when they were establishing it, it goes beyond that.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Maybe in 2026, with where things currently stand in Coffee County, what do you want the housing authority to look like moving forward? Is it its current operation? Are you satisfied with that? Do you want it to go back in time a little bit, focus on low income and moderate housing? Does that have particular definitions for each of you? Low income to one might mean something different to somebody else, so to establish the idea and concept, and then you can flesh it out from there.
well, another big change they had in 2011, that resolution 395AA. It used to be, I guess, didn't the executive director, with the final approval came with the county commission, is that right? And when they did this resolution, it basically transferred that to the housing authority board, right?
Yeah.
I would like to see it pulled back underneath the umbrella of the county commissioners.
I agree.
Well, and when you say that, are you saying they still have a housing authority board?
And they now have a housing authority board to make recommendations, like any of our others that come to us. But, it's became, to me, and I'm not picking on anybody, okay?
It's indirected.
No,
We've got-
I'm just here to listen. You're
There
good.
was, last count that I had, there was $48,000 paid out in interest rates. That
On
we need to be out of the business of owning and
the existing,
the existing stuff. This is just me, I got a list of things that I had, and I'll go over my list, I know you guys can, bring it back under the control. I'd like the salary schedule to be back in the salary being paid out by the county.
Does that mean the director and anybody would be employees of the county?
Be employees of the county.
Whereas right now they're not.
Right.
Okay.
And then, we're basically funding the thing, but then it's just the money's put out there to me, and they're doing what they want with it. I'd like to see us get out of owning properties and being in the rental business. I'd like to see it moved into the courthouse, save money. We've got people here and we've got spaces that'll take care of that. I think that we do that, we could use one attorney. We have an attorney here that could help them with that. There'd be some savings to you guys on that also. I think we'd only need one person with you running it, and we've got offices that could be able to help with personnel if there's some clerical work that needs to be done. If on down the line we get going on that, if there's property that needs to be bought or secured some way, I think that, to help the situation, make it transparent, that it ought to come before the county commissioners to do that. I think we could also have economic development helping somewhat with some of this. And, those are the things that I've seen. I mean, you guys may not agree with all that, but personally, those are the things that I've seen that. Oh, one other thing, I'd like to see the time if you guys' meetings move back to the evenings, so we could attend those meetings.
Because originally it was 6 o'clock
Yes.
PM on a Tuesday, I think that's right. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, when it was first started, it was like 6 o'clock on a Thursday evening.
Right.
And then in all the resolutions or the changes, I never did see where that, and again, this is not direct, I just never, I couldn't find where the time was changed from 6 to, what is it, noon now?
Yeah, there was a time change, and then it just says, whenever we want it to be, basically. It's always been noon,
Okay.
since I started.
Well, sure,
But,
sure.
I think in the verbiage, it just says like, or any other time that they choose.
Yeah,
Okay.
I read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And I read that, I just didn't see
Yeah, I didn't see
Yeah.
a specific.
No.
specific time.
Yeah, I think it was kind of left open.
Left open to however it fit.
Yeah.
And so the noon thing, I assumed at that
Well, a
time.
lot of my board members work, so it was on their lunch hour.
Okay.
So, but we're open to changing. I mean, we changed it from second Tuesday to the third Thursday, just.
Right, there were several changes within that,
Yeah,
that from
yeah.
the different,
Just to help some board members
sure.
have deadlines. So, yeah, I don't think that's, I'm not opposed to it, so.
The only thing, Todd, on the rentals, how would you propose, I mean, we've got the rentals, one in Burlington and one in Leroy,
Leroy.
isn't that correct?
Yep.
So, how would, we're getting rent on those right now. So-
Correct.
So if we tried to move those, I'm not sure that we could come out.
I understand it'd be difficult, but I just don't see, we need to build more.
Oh, right, I guess that's where I was headed.
Yeah.
Maintain the two that we've got now to the best of our ability and not do any more.
Unless there's somebody that wants to
Unless somebody wants
want to
to,
buy it and purchase it and take the whole thing over.
right.
Can I interject for just 1 second? My Leroy one, I do have a grant on it, and I have to own it until 2028.
No,
My one in Burlington it can be sold
Right,
tomorrow if I
I
want to.
guess my concern was just if we try to move those
Yeah.
things, we're not probably gonna come out on them as far, and as long,
I know.
and as long as we're getting rent on them, at least we've got income coming in.
I
And
understand.
correct me if I'm wrong, I mean,
Yeah, but still, when we had $48,000 worth of interest paid out, that isn't that plumb out.
oh, it is,
Yeah, we're overrunning the income.
Yeah.
right,
yeah.
right.
Wondering if I could make a quick comment,
Yes,
since
ma'am.
you guys are talking about this. So, I have been thinking a little bit, and I talked to Lindsay about, the housing authority, and what that looks like as far as like with how it affects my job with economic development. And something I just kind of wanted to throw out there, since I started my job over the last year, there isn't a lot of people talking about housing, because I know my tenet is to try to grow jobs and grow business in the county, and you can't do that if you don't have housing. We prefer people that work here also live here. So you guys know I've been trying to, kind of work with some developers, and there's that side where it's very heavy economic development or working with grants. But something I've also heard from some of our larger employers, like you guys were saying with the rentals, some people say low-income housing, some people call it workforce housing, but it's that affordable housing for a lot of our workforce that can't afford to go buy a new home. That's something that does affect my job a lot, but I'm only one person. I don't have time to fix all housing in the county. So that is where in the past I've, when there's funding available or there's things going on, I look to Rhonda, and now definitely working with Lindsay. So I just wanted to plug that. With economic development, I'm kind of coming to find there's kind of 3 areas that I tend to focus on. There's, retaining our current large employers, there's bringing in new industry and jobs, and there's this other one, I would call it quality of place. that does end up taking a lot of my time. That's the quality of life, housing, building community, building downtowns and things like that. And anybody that can help with that, or help my office with that, we're very supportive, however that looks. So I just wanted to throw that out there as you guys are kind of thinking through this, that it does affect economic development.
So what you're saying that if we were to move that office into a space, then you would be, I mean, that would work well for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, however we need to talk about how that looks like, keeping someone else in the county working on housing and thinking about housing is important to my
Right,
office,
sure,
whatever that looks
sure.
like.
I agree, yeah, I agree.
Just from a capacity
I don't
level.
think anybody here against any of that. I think we really want it to survive, but right now, the course we're taking isn't getting done.
Right.
With the finances that are being put into
Yeah.
it. And it's difficult in Coffee County on housing, anywhere you're at.
Yes,
But I don't think the county needs to be in the housing market.
right.
We can help develop it, but I don't think we want to be in it for the
Yeah,
long.
and I do think it's smart to continue to evaluate processes and how we do things, and, make sure we're not multiple offices trying to work on,
Sure.
that we're complementing each other and not duplicating efforts.
So I think this is piggybacking off what Steve said. Are you suggesting maybe you guys work together on this situation, or?
I think we could put our heads together, and I'm not saying anything today, but maybe come up with a plan of
Sure.
I mean,
how it best looks.
each of you would be your own separate entity, but you would be willing to work together. I guess that's what there wouldn't be any conflict there, I guess is what I'm trying.
Right. I think I couldn't give a definite answer but I think we could definitely look at.
You guys are willing to look into this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I just
think
wanted
that's
to.
promising.
I spoke to Jenny, I spoke to Mark, I spoke to Wade. As long as some capacity that housing is kept, if I have to come under you guys, I'm fine with that. I think that there's a little bit of, if I have a board, like I answer to my board, if you want me to answer to you, I don't feel like I need a board. But I'm okay with coming to Jenny. If you wanna throw me under ECO, I'm fine with that. I think I should be like a branch off of it,
Yeah, yeah.
but I told them, I'm willing to do whatever you guys are wanting to do. I'm not gonna
Well-
stomp my feet and say no, but.
As far as the board goes, I guess we need to figure out, what that would look like, because right now we have a planning commission board. I mean, they basically do their own thing, and then they make recommendations to us. We have a hospital board that they don't answer to us directly, obviously. I mean, that they make decisions for the hospital. Library board, they make decisions for the library. They don't take anything back to us.
I think the impetus for a board is you're making sure you have community voice.
But I was gonna say the resolution that back in 2011, and basically it was, I think it kind of gave the board a little more power too. I'm thinking the right one. Where they could focus on housing and everything, and they really didn't have to answer to the county. Now, and I don't know, should they still do that, or should they, or do we need to change how that board operates a little bit? But I think they did that so the county didn't have to micromanage everything. I guess is a good way to put it. But maybe we need to do something to redirect, what they do. What that is, I don't know for sure. I don't know if we have to come up with a new resolution or whatever, but do we let the housing authority board concentrate on housing, or do we have them make recommendations to us? I mean, are they independent or not, I guess?
But when I read through the resolutions, one time they weren't, and then they were made independent.
Yeah.
And then they were borrowing money without any input.
They started out to be an independent board, isn't that correct? I mean, the original authority.
Yep.
They started out to be an independent board themselves.
Lindsay? Do you know, is there any rules that the housing authority has to abide by for certain, like, funding,
No, not off the top of my head. I just know that, like, the Kansas municipality law states that I only have to come meet with commissioners once a year. And
And that's, say that again, I'm
the
sorry.
Kansas municipality law that
Oh, okay,
formed
okay.
me says that I only have to meet with commissioners once a year, which is what Rhonda did for your guys' yearly
some
review, but.
bunch of state statutes
Mhm.
and that, yeah.
But as far as funding goes, no, I don't have any state statutes that govern that.
So the funding that the county, and I should know this because I've been on this long, but the funding that the county gives to the housing authority,
Mhm.
that's a budgeted item. So where do those funds,
They go to my general fund, and then, so I have a general fund and a building fund, and my general fund, I have lots of different subcategories.
right,
Like my triplexes are all in general, but that pays my salary, that pays part of match funding for, grants. Like I didn't get one this last year because I didn't write for it, but this year I was gonna go after my housing preservation grant. I used match funding for that.
and when you say housing preservation,
Yeah.
define,
So the United States Department of Agriculture does a grant called the Housing Preservation
Uh-huh.
Grant, and it is for very low and low income families for Coffee County, for me to go in and rehab their home a little
rehab
bit.
their,
Yeah.
so that process is still in effect, is that correct?
Um,
As long as
yeah.
you get the grant?
So, yeah, I'm still working on the one that I received in 2024. It was a 2-year grant, so I'm still working on that.
Sure,
And then I think it's up again in September, and depending on where I'm at, I was planning on reapplying for that.
sure.
How many houses have you rehabbed on that?
Oh, so many. I couldn't even give you a number. I
10, 20,
Oh.
30?
estimate 20 a year.
And so that's a process if they come in and apply for that?
Yep, I have an
that-
application. They have to meet, USDA income limits, which for Coffee County is decently high. Thank you, Wolf Creek. And
Yeah.
so I have that number. It is $32,000 for one person. Is my very low, and I can go up to low.
So that process has always been in place, and that's still in place?
Yeah.
Depending on the grants that you receive?
Yeah, that's dependent on if I get the grant. If I don't, then I use those county funds that I already had allocated
Uh-huh.
to match. I will use those.
That's what you
still.
use for matching funds?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Plus, all right, and the salary, your salary, I mean, is that Park County and,
The budget that I get from you guys pays my salary
okay,
and my health insurance
okay,
and capers.
okay.
Yep.
And again, I should know this.
No,
but
you're fine.
Because it says in here, you know, that you're employed by Coffee County,
Mhm.
but yet,
It's 395 I was an employee of Coffee County. 395A in 2011 gave that discretion to my board.
okay, but then, what date is this? This one's 2025. It says the executive director shall be employed by Coffee County upon approval of the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. Any person employed to fill the office of the executive director or any vacancy therein shall have such terms as the authority fixes. But no commissioner of the authority shall be eligible for the office as temporary appointee. And like you said before, Mark, it's hard to decide, you know, if you're gonna have a board, So then, should we be involved in that decision then? Or at least brought before us and told what the board is gonna recommend? Do we have some input in that?
Right.
I mean, I guess, and I don't know where it's at in here now, but I mean, the ability of the bylaws to be changed, if we make changes to the bylaws here now, I think that ability, again, should have to come before us before the bylaws can be changed again. And correct me if I'm wrong, that's not the way it is now. The Housing Authority Board can change the bylaws.
Mhm.
So, that's just a thought I had on those two items. And I'll reiterate again, Lindsay, myself, I have no problem with you or anything
No, you're
you've
fine.
done, okay? Don't take this
No.
as being directed towards you.
No, you're good.
Because
You're
it's
fine.
not. It's not, okay? At all.
I will say, I don't know if you had gotten it from, but after I had the discussion with you guys in March, when you asked about my bylaws, my board did go in and change it to say the executive director shall be employed by Coffee County Housing Authority as of the resolution.
And that was
for
done in
958.
26, I mean.
Yes, that was done in
Right, right.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
So,
That was in your packet.
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
okay. Well, maybe I might have not looked at
So
it.
I was like, I went back to look and to see my info that I had, and yeah,
It should be the very last one.
yep.
Yeah, I have no problem with, possibly, moving to the courthouse, doing some other things like that to save some money and be more cost effective, but then on the other hand, the way everything's set up now, I mean, we're kinda like stepping on everybody's toes, if they have a board, then, do they have are we gonna allow the board to do what they're supposed to do, or are we doing something to change all that with the board?
Well, again, this is.
You're fine.
Financially, if they're out there making these decisions and for some unforeseen reason, they go belly up, who's responsible for the money then? $48,000 worth of interest, that's kinda scary.
The taxes on the rest of the program, along with paying that interest is taken away from funds that you could use for other things.
I have to double check that that's correct, because I do know that at one point we were putting our principal into a line item of interest, and we did get that corrected. My audit is coming tomorrow, and I'll bring that to you tomorrow.
You're
So I don't
thinking
know
it
that
may not
that's
be that high.
accurate, that might not be, but also that interest
Those
loan
numbers
is
I
gone.
got from, you guys' financial reports.
Right, and I'm not saying that that's not correct, I'm saying at one point I wrote most of the checks, I was putting my principal into my interest unknowingly. So I had to put a new line item to do that out.
So you're getting your 2025 audit tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I have a board meeting tomorrow, all of you are welcome to come.
So you'll know you'll have a new audit, is
Yes.
that right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested.
Well,
in
and I
seeing
give it
that
to you guys
also.
anyways,
Yeah.
and Jared Gilmore and Neil Phillips will be at my meeting tomorrow to present the audit, so, stay tuned.
I'm in agreement, I would like to see the office move to the courthouse if we could find the space. On the board side, I guess I would prefer to keep the board in place, I don't wanna have to micromanage, I mean, if they come.
Right.
And I'm willing to come to you guys more often. I know a lot of other department heads come to you monthly, weekly, however, I know that just hasn't been in the past. By statute, I'm only required once, but of course I will come as much as you
Well,
need.
I think it might, if you came in every month and
Yeah.
for the public and everybody watching, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's what you're getting for the money that's being
Yeah.
spent with our department.
Yeah.
A chance
Of course.
to tell about what's going on.
Yeah.
I can't think of any reason this isn't okay. So would Rhonda have time to help if she was in the office next to her.
Like, what's wrong?
Sorry. So, I think I would have to kind of work with Lindsay and see, like, I know you sent me like the admin assistant job description. Look at that, kind of look at what Rhonda's doing, seeing if there's things that, you know, what that system would look like.
Because I don't know how busy she is, and I'm not trying to dump something more on somebody else.
I think
but-
maybe there's things that could be shifted and just looking at, okay, if we were, instead of a staff of 2, a staff of 3, working, you know, you just have to see, look at job descriptions, see, or say maybe we were looking at a team of 4, but it was under, like I know Pittsburgh, they do like community development and housing department, or, you know, something like that.
And share 2 secretaries, she
Yeah.
might say.
Offhand, I don't wanna just say, oh yeah, that's fine, and then run out of people that.
Rhonda's like,
No,
well,
no,
yeah,
no.
So I don't
Yeah.
wanna, misrepresent our staff, and I'm not saying that Rhonda doesn't stay busy.
No, I'm not,
But I'm
not
definitely
implying that
willing
either.
to look at it and see what could be shifted and how that could best benefit everybody.
I'd kick this around, if you guys combine, instead of having an assistant director at a high salary, you'd have somebody clerical that would work in both offices at a different wage, but it would save money at that could help in both areas. So nobody goes well
Right.
at that point.
And if we were looking at it, like I said, under the branch of community development,
Yeah.
that does, you know, envelope housing, economic development, quality of life, quality of place. Willing to do some more research into that. If that would benefit everybody.
And I know that the board, from what I've understood as a whole, really enjoys my housing preservation.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I will say that one of my stipulations, not that I don't care where you put me. I do have to have accessibility for my, individuals coming in. So like if I'm gonna be, I rent now, so I have a little bit of a leeway where I'm like, well, I don't own this building, so, but if I'm gonna be a county entity, we're gonna have to make sure that everything is accessible for.
What do you mean accessible? Is
Like-
somewhere private where you can communicate with,
Yeah.
like your own office?
Yes.
I think
And
we're all
like
aware of
the
that.
Yeah.
the doorways have to be ADA compliant, and if they have a bathroom, they need to be accessible. So,
Courthouse.
I know, but I'm just like, wherever you put me, I need to have a good little
You need
space
to
for
have-
that conversation.
You
with
need to
those.
be, you need to have privacy.
Yeah,
I think we've got a couple areas that.
yeah, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't come over here often, so just, just putting that out there, wherever you wanna throw me.
And then, you know, I don't know, like for your meetings, how much room you would need for your meetings.
Yeah.
Or whether, you know, I guess they wouldn't necessarily have to be in your immediate office
Right.
if you had
Yeah.
a larger group. Let's say you were in the courthouse,
Yeah.
and you could have a meeting in the basement
Yeah.
meeting room, and then if you needed to go to your office and get something, you could. I mean, I think that would be workable. But, yeah, you definitely need your own office.
Yeah, well, just, like, I don't want you to, like, throw me in with, I don't know, some
Yeah,
other,
your
yeah,
closet.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, like, I just, we need to have that space,
Yeah, yeah.
just so you can think about it.
I think we need to have like maybe a joint meeting with their board and just hash out stuff, make sure we understand, or they understand what we want to see, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe we need to understand everything they're doing too. There's probably some things that we don't
I think that'd be a good idea.
I don't know.
I haven't had a chance to sit down and talk with Lindsay. We just talked in passing. In fairness to her, I think she was, and I don't want to speak for you, but she was worried that she wasn't gonna have a job, and I didn't think that was fair, and I wanted to let her know.
There's a couple days that I went home crying, because I wasn't sure what was going on, so I do appreciate that.
But there are some, just from my perspective, some procedural issues internally that may need to be tweaked, then I can sit down and talk with her about that. That's just from the outside looking in, and there may be a good reason why certain things happen the way they happen, and if that's the case, then that's fine.
And I guess my intent wasn't to disband the housing authority.
Yeah.
I guess personally it needs to change directions a little bit. But I was pleased when you talked about the, matching funds and the,
By rehab.
rehabilitation, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, of course.
So that's definitely.
Well, it does a lot of things, like we've talked before, help when you improve this house over here,
That's
the
right.
first thing you know, you're improving
Yeah.
the neighborhood.
And I give all that information to the appraiser's office, so then that goes back to your guys' tax
Back to
rolls
the-
too, so. And I pay taxes on all of our property too, so.
There's one thing I did find in this just means that through all the documents, they're referring to the board members as commissioners.
Oh, yes,
And then when
saw-
I would go through and then they'd talk about us as commissioners, there needs to be some
Yeah.
clarity on that.
I'm glad you brought that up because I caught the same thing because I wasn't sure if they were
One
talking.
of my board members brought it up to me too, he's like, I don't like being called a commissioner. Like, I understand.
Definitely confusing.
He's like, this is volunteer, I don't wanna be a
If they can make it
commissioner.
board members,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
That would help a lot.
And to make it easier.
Yeah,
Right, absolutely.
I'd have to go back and reread and
Yeah.
see which commissioner they were talking about.
Yeah.
And it did say Coffee County Commissioners then, but it's like, that would be easier to comprehend as you're reading through it.
Would you like me to change that, or would you like me to wait until you guys just
I
have
don't
that
know what to
discussion?
say. Just keep that in the back of your
Yeah,
mind.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think from the way everybody's talking, we'll have a few things we'd like to see changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my only other question would be about my board itself. It's a little bit difficult with one of my board members being the age that he is, having only 3.
And he's got
some procedures coming up, and I'm gonna have him available tomorrow, and I can call him by phone, but if we could add those other board members so that I don't feel so stressed.
Don't you think we should?
I think so because I know there's.
And I know that I've talked to at least one of those that had applied in the past, and he said that he was still willing to be on it. I haven't talked to the other. And then I had a community member just ask me recently if they could apply. So I know that there's interest. It's just,
You say you had somebody else inquire recently about being on it?
within the last month or so.
That's it.
Did they come fill out an application or anything?
No, not yet. There's a little bit of a conflict because he mows our property. So he hasn't filled out an application, but I know that, he would.
Oh, we've got 2 on record right now, right?
Yeah, and I've talked to at least one personally and know that, he's still interested.
Probably the same one.
So if we at least got one on there, that kind of.
It would be helpful.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have to be, okay, I have to have all 3 of you PR.
We go okay with
I know the way he's thinking about it.
No, I think they just need to be aware things are
Oh, yeah.
gonna be,
Fluid.
fluid and,
Angie, could you get those applications and we can verify who it was again?
I can tell you. I can tell you, I know who they are.
Yeah, well.
It's James Higgins and Brian Pear.
Okay. I thought there was a pair involved. I
Yeah,
didn't realize.
Brian. And you guys had those, phone interviews. Well, James came in person and then Brian had a phone interview with you
I
guys.
talked to James, so he's interested.
James,
And that's
yeah, I
taken.
talked to him, he's still.
And is Brian.
I haven't reached out to Brian just because I was not sure what was going on. I see James more often than I see Brian. So, and then the other person that came and spoke to me was Dave Lindo.
This is one that's got some help.
if we did just even one of them now until we can
Just one, I mean,
reaffirm
yeah.
with the other one?
That would give, yeah, and that's fine, because, I mean, Bud, he has a procedure on Friday, so like, if, I know he'll be there tomorrow, but in case anything happens, then I would have that other board member until you guys decide what,
You'd have some cushion there.
yeah, until you guys decide. Because if not, then I would have no need for a board at that point.
If you got somebody else interested,
I can
maybe
reach
they
out
could
to
fill
him.
out an application so we could have options.
Yeah, I can reach him.
That'd be an unexpired.
Well, so
Yeah.
would that be on?
I was gonna suggest,
Okay, yeah.
For a drive, or, because it's technically an at-large board, so you can throw them wherever.
I'll, need Angie for a motion here.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, I would like to make a motion to,
So if I go ahead and just like have you guys deposit that into my bank and just close it out.
should I wait for Angie to get in here?
Probably.
And then it can come
That would work better.
out of the what I'll use. I think I can do that. All right, well, thanks for that. No, it's okay.
As far as next steps while we're waiting, I guess, to make progress?
Yeah.
Would it be beneficial before bringing the boards together to have a representative from the board, myself, Lindsay, even Jenny, and then one of their board members, sort of sit down and
Yeah.
establish what, there's some bumpers in place, it appears there's somewhat of a vision, work on that, bring it back, and then if at that point, then there's a way to bring everybody together, do that then, instead of bring the two boards together and everybody look at each other and not know where we're going. We can put something constructive together.
Get some kind of a structure together,
Yeah.
an outline.
What might be helpful is, you know, I can bring my job description, Rhonda's job description, and Lindsay's, you can bring yours, and also the admin assistant that you haven't hired yet. I think that would be helpful to look at, okay, what work is everybody doing? So that if we did decide to move forward under one umbrella, making sure that nothing is lost or no expectations for anybody to, you know,
Yeah.
doing more than they have the capacity for, I think would be helpful.
Okay.
And I'm not sure from a budgeting standpoint, since the housing authority would be requesting their budget at the same time as everybody else, if it's as big of an issue, maybe the one asterisk would be the
I started preparing, and I have two different ones. I started with an assistant, I started without an assistant, and without a rental, so.
Okay.
If the county pays your wage, would that need to be in there on our budget?
I mean, I have it currently.
Oh.
Yeah, it already is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already on there.
Yeah, it's already.
Right, well,
Under my
right,
funds, but I
right.
mean, it's my whole budget,
But
it's
your budget,
personnel.
your budget
Propose-
is with the salary in that, correct?
Right now, she's not a county employee though. Right. Correct.
Yeah.
So if we did that, I mean, so do you have similar benefits like the county employees have?
Yeah, so I'm still Capers, and then I also have, instead of what you guys have, which I do to, technically, because my husband works for the county, I have Blue Cross and Blue Shield insurance, which is decently high, and we're actually talking about switching plans tomorrow.
To the county?
Well, I don't think I
Oh,
can get
I
onto the
shouldn't
county,
ask
but,
that.
I think that was a conversation that was in the past with, Denise, and Rhonda had a conversation, and I don't think I can get on the county benefits without being a county employee.
Your husband works for the county though?
Yeah. You, noxious weed.
Yeah, but my wife's on my insurance.
No, I mean, yes, I'm saying like as a whole, as the housing authority, I can't get on
Oh,
county
okay,
benefits.
I understand you now, just
Yeah,
you,
I
but you
could-
individually
Yeah,
could if
I
you.
could. Lincoln is free,
Yeah,
mine is
yeah.
free, so
I've
I don't
got you
I don't
now.
double up.
You said you, and
Yeah.
you were talking to housing
Sorry.
authority, okay,
Me.
okay. I'm I'm like, yeah, you can.
No, we have my kids on the county insurance. I'm not on the county insurance.
Did you run off?
There's only 2 of them in there. She's coming. Okay. I'm going to make a motion to appoint James Higgins to an unexpired term unexpired 4-year term on the Coffee County Housing Authority Board.
Okay, you're appointing James Higgins to an unexpired
Well, it's an unexpired, term.
4-year term.
Yeah. Obviously, it wouldn't be for the full 4 years.
Right.
But 4-year term. The seat would expire, the term would expire October 26th, 2028.
October 26th. 2028, right?
Yes. Did I get everything in there I needed?
Okay, and effective when?
Effective immediately?
Okay.
4/20? Can you get into your meeting?
I'll call him. Yeah, I'll call him after this. I'll see if he'll be there.
Okay. So that's my motion.
I'll make the, oh, you made the motion?
Yeah, I made the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Curry second. Any discussion? Further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It passes 5-0. Now you have another board member.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And we will, I guess we'll continue
Yeah.
discussing.
Yeah.
Maybe you wanna see if you can get that application that's,
Yeah, I just messaged one of them and said if they want to get me an application, and then I will reach out to Brian.
cause you might need them both. so-
Yeah.
And I'll reach out to Brian too,
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, just to double check. So yeah, I'll do that now.
Angie.
As far as,
I'll show that later. I take it. I've got everything. I don't know how I managed to screw it up.
get that pulled back over, Candace.
I can't, I'm not smart enough when mine does that. I can tell you that.
It's working. So as far as, we get some representatives from the commission to get with them and try to start
Yeah, this is
piecing
something
some of
else.
this together.
Thank you.
College strategic planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can get Wade.
Which one of you wants to be that person?
And I can unless Todd. I've got to go to the State House tomorrow with, didn't he, with Katie Agee. I don't
I mean,
mind.
did you want to start that conversation tomorrow, or did you just want to attend my meeting tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily needs to be tomorrow, but.
Yeah, I think it'll be getting people together and sitting at a table and maybe, who's your chairman?
Bill Parker,
So maybe the chairman
my only one who works.
or
Depending
I'm not chairman.
I mean, I could, depending on what day or whatever.
Yeah, we can.
I mean, I would be flexible.
You're not available Tuesdays, are you? Mark?
Tuesdays are typical, I mean, I may pop into your meeting maybe
Okay.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
but,
I usually
But
provide
it's-
but
the
as,
way.
but as far as getting together, it doesn't have to be on a Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think maybe an email can go out
Yeah.
and then
Establish a
find the
time frame.
availability that works for
Works.
everybody's
Yep.
schedule and then,
Yeah.
then meet and then go from there.
Mhm.
So,
basically hash out some things before we
Before you
get
bring it to a
together
vote.
again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
maybe one of you as number one, and then if that person's not available, one of you that's number two.
I could be the number
You could be, but you could also be number
two.
one.
I could be the number one. It's however fits, okay?
I want you guys to decide, and then from there.
I mean, I can't unless you want to.
I've got to do that.
That'd be great, Mark, if you and Steve wanna do it, it's fine with me.
Yeah, we'll just,
Okay.
fine.
1 and 2.
Okay, 1 and 2.
One and two.
2 and 1.
2 and 1.
We'll say alternate instead of
Alternate, yeah.
number 2.
I don't mind being number two.
Commissioner.
12.
12. Wherever I fit.
Okay. Does that help any?
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it.
We'll, see what we can do here.
Yeah, sounds good. Sure.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate you sticking
Thanks,
around.
Lindsay.
Thank you very
I know, I'm
much.
starving, oh my goodness. Thank you.
Do you guys need me for anything else, or?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll be downstairs when I go make my lunch. If
Yeah.
you do, just call me back up.
All right, thanks, Jenny.
Yep.
Thank you.
My bike notes, they're both pretty.
Okay, now we're ready for, Ryan to, what'd you say, about 20 minutes?
Thank you.
It'll be as long as you guys want.
We're just gonna give him cut-off time. or-
Yeah, come on up,
All right.
let's discuss the Highway Department's 2026 construction project. That is what we're doing.
I did, yeah, mine's on mine. Yeah, no problem. Brought a couple here.
Oh, you're right, another motion.
That's the resolution.
Okay,
That'll be the last one for me.
okay. All right, gotcha.
And you could do it real quick, and then we could carry on with our payroll,
Okay.
if you want to.
Okay, we're gonna sneak another motion here real quick so we can keep
Yeah,
moving.
just get that done.
It's ready, Casey
Okay.
double checked everything, so we're good to go.
Okay, this is a resolution, okay? I did entertain a motion to approve resolution number 772-R, a resolution establishing the pay scale and classification for the employees of Coffee County, Kansas.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, McCurry moved, seconded by Avandrod. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? That passes, 5-0. I'll pass this around for everybody to sign. Okay. Sorry, Ryan.
No, that's fine.
All right.
So, all right, this is the 2026 project book we've put together. Every year we put, this book of our proposed maintenance and construction projects in places, so we have an idea of what we're looking at this year. These books don't include like public work requests and stuff like that. That's separate. So I'll just kind of talk through some of this. If you guys have questions, just kind of answer them along the way. So page 2, just kind of a quick overview. What we take care of here in the county. So there's 1,200 miles of roads. 960 miles of those are gravel, 228 are asphalt. A few dirt roads. We have 236 bridges. So a bridge definition is anything over a 20-foot opening, classified as a bridge. So we maintain over 3,500 crossroad pipes or structures. Of those, about 2,500 of those are corrugated metal pipes, 827 concrete structures, and 107 laid-up stone structures, and then there's 78 miscellaneous, such as maybe a steel pipe or low water crossings, stuff like that. Page 3. Things this year we're looking at doing chip and seal and fog seal. We're looking at doing 27 miles this year. Asphalt, we're looking at 17 miles of hot mix. Currently we have the 2 intersections down at Leroy that's in place to be done, and then we'll have bid openings coming up for the 3 projects I was here a while back about. And then we'll have one more asphalt project we'll be going to bid on, and that's for Old Highway 50 from Links to 75 up there along the county property. And so we'll be looking at rebuilding that and kind of matching into like the rest of that project that was built towards Lebo.
So will that be, is that projected to do this year?
This year, yeah. So it's a little more, it's not just an overlay. There's some shoulder widening and some subgrade work there. I mean, it'd be similar project. It'll match up what was done there, so.
A lot of appreciative people for that.
Yeah, no, it's narrow, extremely narrow. So yeah, we're still working on the contract and on the details for that, so just a little more involved in the other overlays. So our estimated cost for overlays this year, we're looking at about $3.2 million. I would say with these projects that are out for bid, we'll kind of see where they come in at. You know, there's some uncertainty, and be interesting to see where those prices come in. You know, I would anticipate they may be a little higher than what I was planning on 6 months ago, so there's some flexibility here, but this is kind of our starting point, and we'll go from there. Page 4. We have, those are just some snap-tight locations there. Striping, we'll look at, there's 45 miles of the new asphalt and new chip seal that would have new striping. Then we're also looking at 47 miles of restriping. So this is, this program's kind of evolved a little bit. We've started restriping some roads just for the safety of it. You know, we've been doing just the yellow stripes. Kind of engineers' recommendations is the fog lines as important or more important than the yellow lines, so we are going to add that into those. And so as I was looking at our roads, basically I'm looking at the major collectors in the county, which are our main traveled roads, and if they need updated striping, those are the ones that we were preparing on striping this year. So I got a map in the back here we'll get to pretty soon on those.
White lines really help at night when you're meeting another vehicle.
Yeah.
With the seniors, they're
Yeah.
asking that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, with macular degeneration. So
Yeah, absolutely.
they need that.
And so the new recommendations are on those fog lines to make them 6-inch fog lines instead of 4. So that's something that you'll notice this year. We are going to the new standard on the 6-inch fog lines.
Good.
Does that paint have, I know in some places they use the material in it that reflects.
Well, so there's glass beads, so the paint goes and then it blows beads on top of it.
Okay.
Yep. So the reflectivity on it. Shoulder spraying, we've got approximately 75 lane miles that we spray. The noxious weed sprays for us. So the estimated cost on that's about $40,000. Page 5. 6 and 7, I mean, those are just kind of some graphs, breakouts of our budgets for road and bridge, special bridge, and solid waste. Then we get into some of our construction or project maps. The first one, page 8. So, the dark blue lines that you see, those are chip and seal projects, such as going south of Lebo there, south of Waverly, out east of town. Then we have the light blue on there. Those are the asphalt projects that we're looking at. one on 16th Road, and one on 12th Road, and the St. Louis Road.
So on the 12th Road there, where it just goes out there to Emmer,
Yeah.
you just feel there's less traffic from there on,
Well,
or?
my original plan would have been from the county line clear into town, and just like on 16th, I would have liked to go from the plant to the county line, and then also south, Amherst, south of Ridley. I mean, that was my starting point, and then it's too much asphalt to be able to do in a year, so we had to narrow it down. So next year, we'd be looking at doing Angus over to Ammer, and then the same thing up there at 16th, going from the plant road over to Trefoil.
Okay.
Then doing that south of Emmer. I just kind of picked the farthest project away, so that way I'm not having a bunch of asphalt trucks driving over fairly new asphalt through there.
Yeah.
That was the idea with the second road, but yeah, just had to narrow it down. But no, it all needs it. It all needs it.
I understand.
The yellow, so basically that's the added paint striping that we just talked about. Embankment Road, so that is something new for us. This is an asphalt rejuvenator. That's the guardrail area on Embankment Road, and so you really got to watch on getting that road built up by asphalts and chip seals because of the guardrail height. And it's kind of getting to the point that there's a concern with getting the elevation of the road too high. So this is something I've been intrigued with for a few years, and so basically it's a rejuvenator that just reactivates the asphalt. It gets oxides, gets hard, and it just kind of adds some flexibility back into it. Keith and I have looked at it, and it's pretty cost effective. It's actually cheaper than a chip seal, and so there's potential we may look at doing this other places, but this is kind of a reduced speed road, not a bunch of intersections where people are turning all the time, so we thought it'd be a good trial. We're gonna have this, and then the street in front of our shop down there, which is fairly new asphalt, and we're gonna have that one done also.
So that's like a chemical?
It's just, it's a liquid. It's an oil that's basically shot, and it incorporates and it penetrates down into the asphalt like 3 inches, I think, and just helps bind stuff back together. And
so then it
evaporates
and solidifies.
Yep.
That's what happens.
Yep.
What kind of a lifespan does it have after that's used?
About like a chip seal. I mean, about a 4 or 5 year lifespan. So. But Butler County, they've used it some. I've talked with them, and they, it's not right for every road. The plant road, I don't think would be a fit for something like that. It kind of depends on your traffic counts and volumes and this and that. But, this will be a good trial, and we'll see how it performs.
Okay.
So I think that's about a little over $100,000 for the Embankment Road and the shop work down there. See on page 9. So these are more of just our maintenance projects here. So the light blue, basically those are minor ditching projects with gravel replacement. So those projects are the ones that are blade guys. You don't really require a lot of heavy dirt equipment up there. They're just minor ditching, basically cutting the edge of the forest slope down to the bottom of the ditch. There's a few projects that we highlighted green. Let's see if I can find one here. Like 14th Lane out here, Emmer to Fama. So those would be projects that are a little more of a rebuild, a little more in-depth culvert replacements. Typically those projects you're buying some right away, be replacing some fence and new culverts. The dark blue, those are the projected gravel replacement miles. So those are full mile replacements that we have. Which I think we have 59 miles this year. Pretty aggressive, but definitely needed. And some of those dots on there, let's see, The orange is just areas of box culvert maintenance, and the greens where we're looking at doing bridge maintenance.
I'm just curious, on the box culvert maintenance, what's involved?
Well, it could be a variety of things. I think the majority of these, and there's a list in back that has some details on for each one of these locations. Most of these is gonna be erosion or
Okay.
like trees and cleaning out and
Cleaning out
getting the
stuff.
drain better, yep. Page 10. The red were basically completed culverts last year. Then the rest of those, the greens proposed box culverts, be concrete. Don't have, looks like I didn't get the bridge replacements on there, but obviously the BT is one, that's gonna be replaced this year. The blue dots, those are snap tights, so those will be culverts that are on asphalt roads that we line with plastic liners. Typically, we don't have to dig the road up on those.
So your hope is that you replace those soon enough while you can still get
Yeah, get a liner in there.
through 'em.
Yeah, so we've done these liners for 20-some years. Getting some information on a different type liner that is like a UV fabric that they put in layers and cure it out. Lyon County's utilized it some, and so it might be an option for us here. I'm just getting some information on it, and
Okay.
our last culvert inspections that we performed this winter, it was pretty staggering the amount of shot culverts that we have. You know, asphalt roads, I mean, the salt's hard on culverts. So, you know, this year I think we got 16 culverts we're looking at addressing and lining.
I see.
Ahead of our chip seals and our hot mixes, those are the roads we try to focus on. Page 11. So this is just spreadsheet here for chip seal projects. And so we estimate, you know, a mile chip seal to be about $27,000. And so total estimated for chip seal $737,925.
Did you say 27,000 per mile?
Yes, so that'd be chip and fog oil. And then page 12, these would be we call them farm access projects, but basically they're the major rebuilds on roads. And so we estimate about a $90,000 cost on those. And like I say, they're pretty in-depth. We don't do a lot of those. I don't know last year if we did any major rebuilds, but we try to do a couple miles a year if the schedule allows for it and the weather cooperates. Page 13. Those are the miscellaneous grading projects that smaller ditch work and gravel replacements. We have 25 miles listed in here. You know, these projects we will not get all these done, but that's kind of our starting point, and just see how the year goes and what we get done. Page 14. So these are the gravel replacement miles. We have 58 miles here, which is very aggressive, but I will say our chip miles are down this year, so we'll have more time to haul some gravel this year where we won't be chipping. Have probably another 6 weeks or a couple months there, so we should get a few more miles gravel this year. Page 15 is just all the asphalt projects we're looking at. If you get down to second from the bottom down there. So we are still working with FEMA on some stuff from the flood damage. They were down here last week, and so we have 2 locations in the county that we're looking at doing some mitigation, and one's out here at 16th and Angus, just east of the county line there. It goes through a low area where we've lost an asphalt section out there a couple times.
Yeah.
This last flood, we've lost some chip seal, so we're looking at actually putting in a section of concrete road and tying it in with a box culvert. And so working with FEMA to have all that paid for down through there, and it's taking a little time and to get that put in place, but I mean things are moving towards that. And then we do have one culvert, it would be Trefoil 13 to 14, that has blown out the last couple rain events we've had. We've got it reduced down to 1 lane. It's a 78-inch diameter metal culvert, and so we had an engineering study done, and it's severely undersized. And so have submitted plans to have a box culvert put in there, like a 10x6 box culvert. And so it sounds like we sent some stuff up to the state to have them look at the drainages, and it sounds like that's going to go through, and it's stuff that would be reimbursed from FEMA for the cost. So, and that's kind of why that road, if people ask why that road's been reduced down to 1 lane, it's just taking some time to deal with them on that and jump through all the hoops. And
yeah, that was actually something I was going to ask you about, was the deal out there by the quarry out there right off Angus.
Yeah.
Jacobs Creek Road, so you'll anchor that to a box there?
Well, there's a box culvert in there already, and so the idea would be just still getting the details, probably like an 8-inch concrete road, and it's 150 foot in length or something like that, where the asphalt keeps washing off.
A little bit of a dip to it where the water would run over there.
No, that water goes over that area no matter what, but we would try to keep it to,
yeah, I just didn't know if you'd make it where it would cross in one spot.
Yeah, no, the grade elevation would stay the same how it is.
Okay.
It would just, like now, basically where the gravel is in between the 2 asphalt portions of the road, that would become concrete.
Okay.
Would become concrete.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Page 16. So on the left is just the box maintenance, planned repairs. I mean, it's either cleaning out brush or erosion. Like I say, most of them are probably erosion. But then the right side is the bridge maintenance, planned repairs. Most of that's repairing berm erosion, dealing with undermining. So they're basically just trying to protect the bases of them bridges and take care of the little problems before they become big problems.
You're putting like some bigger rock back in some of those areas.
Yeah, large concrete or large rock. Page 17, at the top is the couple locations for some box replacements. And a couple bridge replacements in there. One's at Links Bridge is getting ready to start. There are a couple of miscellaneous low water crossings. One's there at 28th and Trefoil. North of Waverly, it's been in here for a couple of years. We'll probably try to get something done then this year. And down below is the snap-tight culvert liner pipes. And locations we're looking at there. And the estimated cost on them is $259,000. I know we did get an email here last week. I mean, those prices, probably going to be higher than that. Now, these are funds here that come over our special bridge. Anything that's crossroad structure, we're able to utilize the funds of our special bridge for those. Page 18 is just a list of crossroad culverts. This would be all on gravel roads here. And page 19. So this would be something that we added a couple years ago. We went out and identified, there were over 50 obstructed intersections with site visibility issues, so last couple winters, we've kind of focused on crews cutting back, working on those. So I think we're down to about 15. So hopefully this year we'll get the rest of these knocked out and probably time to start over. I know there's heard a lot of good comments on some of this work, just safety, visibility. Yeah, so basically, conclusion, this list of projects is subject to change as weather conditions, time, budget, and local conditions, such as flood damage, failure structures, and repairs on safe roads. And we'll continue to schedule maintenance and improvements of the county infrastructure, building for tomorrow. We'll continue the highway department will continue the high level of service for the county, for the gravel roads, asphalt, bridges, and culverts countywide.
Have you talked to the Corps of anything with the road coming across to Hartford? I know.
Out east of town. So we had put in, thanks for bringing that up, we put in for a project, some funding, a flat project, and I was notified that we weren't given anything there. That's a fairly major project. I know they have gone down and done a little bit of drainage work and cut one of their roads down and lowered it, so we're not having as much problem as we were. So we're still in communication about how we can help each other out there. I haven't been out there for a while. I don't know if
It's still closed.
it's still closed, yeah. So I know that, when that water comes up, it takes it a while for it to dry out in spots and,
Ditch work and
yeah,
bigger whistles where it runs across.
yeah, but,
It's their water.
yeah, just east of,
East of Hartford, going across the
Yeah.
refuge there. We've got a section of ground that goes up to the Hartford dump there, and every time the lake comes up, it washes across the field, washes all the gravel out into
Yeah.
the field.
yeah, that's been a ongoing issue for several years, and I don't know, at one point, I think they raised the pool elevation level a little bit, and then that log jam, so I don't know if there's some contributing factors that maybe makes it a little more frequent. It used to take a pretty big rain for that river to back up, but, now it seems.
The wrong way.
That log jam's gonna make it start jumping the road there, I would think.
Oh, it goes plumb across there, from Hartford, almost to the gates on the east side, when it gets up.
So,
They need a motion.
typically that's what we've had in the past. Just go through this and just getting your approval and move forward with our plans for this year.
Well, based upon the recommendation of the road and bridge superintendent, I will move to approve the road and bridge superintendent's request to approve the 2026 construction project plan.
I'll move.
I move.
Oh, you moved? Okay, well, I'll just second.
I move from Tom. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes 5-0.
What else? Airport, I guess I could update you a little bit there. They finished the asphalt on phase 1. That completed Friday, I believe, last week. So I believe tomorrow they'll be starting to finish out some dirt grades along phase 1. Having some discussions on phase 2 and trying to get it to a point of putting a finish point there. It sounds like maybe we don't have to move forward with the additional asphalt, the next layer of asphalt out there. It's not really needed right now. It's got base asphalt down through there. So it'll be just a little bit of work at that north end to tie into the gravel, and I would say Saban's probably going to be down next week. They were working on the details, and there should be a reduction for the last change order for phase 2. So there should be something coming there with the work that's not going to be done there. So Saban was working with Kilo and and Garrett, and they were working on those details. But I asked him to come and update you guys on that.
Did you talk to Darren, the airport board, about some fencing?
Yeah, that'll be another thing. Really need to construct some fence. There's a north-south line, and it would basically be to the east of the new frontage road through there. But they'll need to get some fence established up through there. And then once this phase 2 gets put to bed, I would anticipate we could probably put a gate up there for now. I don't know that we need to have it open. You guys can decide that. But hopefully that the projects that we put in for the turn lanes and stuff, pretty hopeful for those, and then we can tie in that new road up there. But,
Yeah.
Perfect. Any kind of time frame you think we need to get that fence put in there so we can lease it out?
I mean, that's beyond me. I don't know. That'd be a Darren and you guys' decision. We can move forward and, I'll work on getting some prices with the fence builders that we utilize and get some bids and at least get that process started and get it measured up and,
Need any gates or anything, probably some kind of gate through there, or, I'm trying to remember.
I'll get with Darren.
Is there access along the north road to that then?
There's probably
a gate up there somewhere.
Yeah. I'll get with Darren and we'll
Just as far as specs that we might need for the fence or whatever. Then that stuff that's west of the fence, I know when you and I looked at it the other day, you said Darren had mentioned that some of that's kind of rough, but I still wonder if that could be something that we could bid to be hay or something, just keep it down.
Sure, absolutely.
Keep it in condition,
Yeah. So, but we'll get this, update on phase 2, and there'll be some final seeding and some stuff to do on them ditches and stuff like that, and some ditch erosion to take care of, so there'll be a little bit of work to do on that yet to get it done.
Well, I talked with Darren at one time about, or he called me that they were maybe wanting to burn east of there, and I thought maybe it'd be okay to burn that stuff. I don't know if they're able to. If they could get it burnt now, because if you put seeding down and mulch, then you can't burn up the mulch. But so I might visit with him about that, or you can.
Yeah, go ahead, reach out to him.
Okay. See if that's a possibility, if they could do that. I know they're doing a bunch of their own, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's enough for you guys.
That's been fun.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Think so, huh?
Appreciate all the updates.
Yeah, you bet.
Looks like a good plan, Ryan. Thank you.
All right, you guys have a good week.
See you later. Thank you.
See ya. Okay. Round table? Wade, this will start with you.
Circle back to the appraiser question. I know you've had time to deliberate and think about that. I would suggest, and Jeff Clark did a good job of explaining what he's explained to me, and my inability to explain that related to you. He's one of the ones who I've been talking with, of course. I think based on his presentation, he should be the lead. They should be able to work as a team, and I think if you open it up to having a team of 3 appraisers, you're going to get some who have expertise in other areas. They'll blend their expertise, and for example, the individual who's in the Franklin County area, there'll be homes in that area they'll be able to pull into, and then there's another in the geographic region who Jeff had indicated to me that he's only willing to help if he can be a part of the team, because he doesn't have the ag experience. So if you're okay with that, that makes sense, then I think we'll be able to put a team together and get things moving, because right now I'm spinning my wheels.
Yeah.
Okay with that?
I think he should be the lead, because he's got the qualifications in both departments.
They did present well.
Yeah.
there's a consensus to move forward with that.
That's number one. Number two, take one, pass it around. This was brought up last week, and even the week before you had the proposal. This is the contract. McGrath for the market update. I worked with her. This is the contract with the amounts. The proposal was $15,000. There may be a couple of tweaks to that if you add some things to it. Like if you add something with the housing authorities, that gets added. But the 15,000, the timeline is what the proposal said. I had some tweaks and changes, and Dr. McGrath agreed to those, and she even signed it, and it's dated today.
That's what it was when we announced.
Yeah, right.
What was that, Dave?
Well, the first one you had last week, number 5, it had
It got
the
fixed.
payment, the payment schedule exceeded the
Yeah.
15,000, so that's what
Okay.
hit you up about one.
Right.
Yep, it's fixed.
Okay.
So if you're okay with the agreement and you're wanting to get this moving,
Yes.
I'd request a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign that agreement and for it to list the compensation.
Is there anything in here about where they would over Zoom or something meet with us? And meet with us as a commission on our wants and desires that we'd like to see. 'Cause today, there was an awful lot of gray area that we went over that I think could be cleared up with this.
The gray area with the proposal or with?
Just with the salary that we were looking at today that we
Oh.
did, you know.
It's on the CP5s, there's a
Yeah.
few questions, there's a question or two on the CP for you, there was, I mean, we were all over, I mean, we got all
Yeah.
kinds of questions.
Yeah, and I think if we had it written down somewhere, I think that would help, and they could help us with doing that.
It's not written in there, but I'm certain that meeting by Zoom won't be an issue.
So you need a motion then?
A motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign.
Okay, I found it. I would entertain a motion to approve and authorize, motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the agreement between Coffee County and McGrath Consulting Group to conduct a compensation market update.
Make that motion.
Should have put the price in there.
Oh, sure.
15,000.
For the amount of $15,000 to be paid from
Property general fund, courthouse general, or courthouse general contract. I'll write it out.
courthouse general contractual line item.
And this does have dated April 2nd, 2022, so.
Effective,
Okay.
what'd you say, effective April
Second,
2nd, 20th?
20th, sorry.
Effective April 20th, 2026.
And then just so you know, once this is signed, it triggers an initial payment under paragraph 5.
Okay. Okay, I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
I made the motion, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0.
Okay.
Okay, moving along.
Last thing I have for you is going back to church views.
I've been traveling again, buddy?
We need to get Tom back up here.
Yeah, it's more fun with Tom in
He
here.
will, say he wants to punch me. So, I'm gonna slide this email around. I've identified 16 solid oak church views, at a church in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We are gonna go pick them up. They're $100 a piece. So, I forget what the guy's name, he's a deacon at the church, had him send an email, and that's, there's a voucher, a check, and this just needs to be passed around. I didn't want you to be surprised and wonder what in the world is going on. So, Wyatt, I've got pictures, I've got videos.
Is it good?
As far as videos and pictures look,
But being solid oak, we can rework them if we need to.
yep, and we already have, if we need to have them sanded and refinished.
Yep.
Local.
Yep.
Not me.
So, but I needed that to happen today.
Let's check those with that.
Thursday.
Pretty long, aren't they?
15 feet. Fortunately, they.
Do the books come with it?
No. In case you want to see. No, I asked for videos, I asked for pictures of stress points.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
They do look good.
And it's confirmed they're solid oak.
Yeah.
No surprises?
Well,
Well, I know.
This, that's the request for the check for those.
They do look good.
so we're gonna go pick them up.
We don't need a motion, do we? Or do we? We're
I
good.
don't think so. I mean, it's part of the,
Joe Prime?
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're actually saving money by doing that.
Thank you.
Quite the expenses for some of us.
Yeah?
No, do I?
They say call me Skip.
Yeah, no,
Well, no, Wade just passed that around,
this
so
is
you
just one that,
Yeah, he just sent it the other
it
day.
came backwards.
I just wanted you to be aware of what it was and why, how that came about.
That's a reverse one.
Yeah.
So you know, we're gonna go, we'll get down there, and if we find that they aren't what they are presented to be, then that check will be shredded.
And that goes with
you
that.
taking Tom with you?
Yep.
He doesn't know it yet.
No, he knows.
I think so, right?
What else you got?
We'll get more confusing something back and forth.
That for today is what I have, unless you have anything for me.
That will work. Can't think of anything else that we covered. Understood. Todd, I want to, revisit this housing authority. I think there's some misconceptions here about what I was getting. I don't want to micromanage them.
Oh,
But then when it comes down to the mess that we're in, I do would like to have some simulation of some sort of oversight.
oh, and Todd, when I said that, all I meant was that I think a board needs to be in place somewhere along the line.
Yeah, but
to-
also I think just checks and balances, we can help out with that so we're not into a situation that we're in now.
Right.
So that's the only thing I'm getting at it, and I mean, if I stepped on some toes, I'm sorry, but that's been an ongoing situation.
Well, this is one way to fix it.
Yes, yes.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one way to fix it.
I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just
Future
get into this
like what we'd
money
like to see happen,
projects
Yeah.
instead of buying it all.
simplify it,
I
and give it to
think we
those
should
guys,
have our
and they can
money.
hash it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and when I said that, Todd, all I meant was that I didn't wanna, the board can bring stuff to us and we need to be updated on a regular basis, and that was brought out.
Yeah, it just,
And it made me feel better when the refurbishing, I mean.
oh, that's all great stuff, but we never heard that for a year and a half since I've been here, so.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got
Yeah.
some good things that are going there, but we never hear about, so.
Right.
But, I think we've got a better situation, but I still think as far as money is concerned, they need some blessings from us.
I think that'd be good.
It'll be good to see what the new audit brings out.
And, yeah, and then they need a board just for they can get their minds together and storm ideas.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, and that's all I've got.
Yeah. I don't have anything today.
One thing I got is Heidi giving me this. Apparently they went over the chapter 1 through 5 comprehensive plan last meeting. Next one will be May 20th, and they're gonna go through chapters 6 through 10 on the new comprehensive plan. And she did say that it is listed on the website for everybody who's interested to go in and look at.
To look at what's they've already looked at. there.
Yes.
Okay.
So we pretty much on schedule with that, or?
It seems to be.
Yeah, with the 5 chapters we went over the other night, this got us up to date. There was some reservations with who was helping us, and they brought another individual in, and it was great.
Went good,
Yes, and he was
Sorry. I
He was
missed it.
opened and everything was well.
Was that meeting at the library?
Yes.
That was Wednesday evening.
May 20th?
Yeah.
Oh, last Wednesday?
Yeah.
I drove by there, it looked like there was kind of
Yeah, I
a
have
late meeting.
those.
It was late, but we got through the first 5 chapters.
Good.
The next meeting will be there.
Appreciate everything
May 20th,
everybody's
they're
doing
gonna go
on
through
that.
chapters 6 through 10.
And when's the next meeting?
May 20th,
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Thank you. Try to make it this time.
Then as I understand with that, after they're done with it and they sign off on it, it'll come to us, then we can do the same thing going through it.
Okay. So what's online right now? Is it the up-to-date version of it, or, you say they reviewed, was there any changes
Well,
made or anything? or-
I think what she's put on there now is a preliminary, it says
Yeah.
draft on it.
Okay.
So people can go through and review it, because it's not official until.
Marvin's making the corrections that they wanted done that night, and they're gonna resubmit them to her and,
You can read it if you want.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if I went there and looked at it, I didn't know if it was a version that had been updated or corrected, or, but it's the original draft?
I think it's
Because
whatever.
there was even some graphics that they didn't like, and they're gonna have them change and take some photographs of certain places in the county, and, okay.
Right, do you have anything else, Mike?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Steve?
I'm good. Well, I'll let you bring that up on this. We went to.
No.
I'm good.
Say something you want.
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, Thursday, myself and Steve, we went to that regional county commission meeting. What was it? Southeast Kansas.
District meeting.
Yeah, so we sat in on commission, we had several people from Coffee County go, and, Steve and myself, we sat in on the county commission part of that. and, Kent Olson spoke to us and gave us some resources, talked to some other commissioners about various things, and that's it in a nutshell.
That was it. It was an enjoyable meeting. You always get to meet other commissioners and realize that we're all facing similar problems.
Yeah, I have one other thing. I'm going up to the State Department tomorrow, or the State House, and we're gonna be discussing with KDHE this Beulah, situation with the dumping and stuff, and we'll see where we go. KAC, the attorney that I've been talking with, stepped up and wrote a very, very nice letter to the president of KAC saying this is something that's just not coffee Osage, it's statewide, and recommending that they take it on as a legislative action for the next session, next year, to help with this. And they feel that it's not being regulated at all, so.
You said KAC attorney,
KAC.
do they have a new attorney yet, or?
Not yet. This is the intern, Greg Cox is the one I've been talking with.
Okay, very good. Sounds good. Good luck tomorrow. Next week, no, we have a road closure hearing next week, is that correct? Have that
Street.
For street?
Yep.
Yeah, in Hillview Edition.
Yes.
That's at 10 o'clock.
I gotta get it to you. You want that?
Angie, do you know what else we have on our agenda next week?
Yeah, just a second.
Because we have board appointments we need to be making.
So far, we just have the proclamation for ECAN, and then what was the other road?
The
closing?
street closing,
closure.
yeah,
I need to add that
Hillview
then.
Edition.
What time is that?
Because we'll want. Probably need to start interviewing some of these board applicants next week.
Yes.
Need to be making some appointments.
Yeah, because the library had called and asked, and I said no, that you hadn't done anything yet, so I can get them in for next week if you want.
That'd be great.
And the street closing's here?
Yes.
Okay.
Just here.
All right, and then.
It'd be like similar to the Jacobs Creek one, except
Yes.
this is Hillview Edition.
Okay, and then, that's really all I have right now.
So we're lacking some applicants right now, right? I mean,
And then you've got the one on the, airport board.
airport board, but they have 2 positions open. Yeah. Do you guys know anybody who would be a good fit for some of these boards? I encourage them to get some applications in. We have 3 seats on the planning board. I think at this point, we only have 1.
Just got the one applicant,
Yeah.
don't we?
And then we have 2 on the airport
Right.
board. I mean, we got 1
We've got one-
applicant.
we've
but-
got one
Yeah,
applicant.
he wants it again, because he's been on,
Right.
and then there's one on,
We got
Library.
one seat on the library board, and we got 1 applicant, right?
I think there's 2 on the library.
Oh, is there 2?
I think so. I'll have to look at my
I think
sheet.
there's only 1. I think there is 2, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause one, Kimmer went home.
So, you know anybody, encourage them to get their application in soon.
I'll call
And
for
then
appointments.
we'll schedule some appointments next week, and,
Oh, and then check the vouchers next week.
oh, yeah.
Oh, that's on
It's
Monday.
already coming,
Is
yeah.
that- is that
We're
on
gonna do
Monday?
Monday.
At least they're not today.
Yeah.
So pack a lunch?
Oh, or I can get you lunch, you just gotta tell me what you want.
Actually, so far, depending on what else happens, it may not be too bad, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you moved
I don't know
through
where
today
he-
pretty good, even though there was a lot.
Man, it's went fast.
Do you have anything else?
I know you just got paid.
Get another one.
Wow. We'll see what happens.
Okay,
Where's the party?
if there's no other business, I guess we'll adjourn at 12:57.
Very good.